Welcome back to the Ghost and Friends YouTube channel. Here for a special one. We got the big prediction show. Last year, Miss Savannah 2J joined us. She's back again, top right. Mr. Bottom right, John Tweed Sports. Welcome back to the channel. And first time Logan and I are together, but he is a new member of the Ghost and Friends team, Logan Hertner. How we doing, guys? Everyone doing all right?
Great. Happy to be here.
Yeah, could not be better.
Yeah, ready to rock. Ready to rock. Let's do it.
Yeah, obviously, I've seen the playoff predictions at least because we had to add them here to the show, and there are some hot takes from I think all of us, to be honest. So I'm definitely interested to see how we all defend that. I've been, as John said earlier, spending a lot of time this afternoon just coming up with some excuses because I might be worse than the rest of them. But first things first, let's say thanks to the chat. Appreciate you guys that are here already. Mr. Chris Bennett checking in. My not neighbor, but pretty much neighbor, Mr. Richard McClary, always showing love. Thanks for being here. No one is shaking ass tonight, I don't believe. Maybe Logan, not sure. But Saucy Raccoon, we do appreciate you being here as well. Thanks for being here, Joshy Manning, feeding newborn Major Manning. Great name. I mean, flawless name. Throwback Texas quarterback, Major Applewhite, new Texas quarterback, Arch Manning. Perfection. But y'all like this video real quick if you're watching YouTube. Like it. You're on Twitter, hop over to YouTube, like it, share it with a friend. What do you say, John? Tell a friend to tell a friend. Thanks for being here, Mr. Gig'em Bart. But let's get to it. First things first, let's talk some conference champions. And we're not going to do all of the G5. We're not going to go through, and they do deserve respect, which is why we've added Mr. Hertner down here. He will be covering Pac-12 as well as most G5 conferences. My friends down the road, Texas State, he will be all over GJ Kinney and the Bobcats and what they're doing. So anyways, guys, let's talk about who we have as our G5 representative in the college football playoff, if you have one, and why you made that choice. So with that being said, John, lead us off. Tell us who your G5 champ is, who's representing the good little guys in the college football playoff this year.
Yeah, I mean, my G5 champ, I'm just going to come right out and go with a hot take. I think it's going to be Tulane. Tulane is interesting, right? Because this G5 slot is the highest ranked G5 champion. It doesn't mean that they went out and went 12-0 or they, whatever. Tulane has a tough schedule. They play Ole Miss in the non-conference. But I think that team, John Summerall, is a fantastic football coach. And I think he is going to short some gaps. That team is going to be their best football when those conference games kick off. So they have, like I said, they're going to be battle tested versus teams like Ole Miss. You got a really good football coach. You got a really good nucleus of skill players, and I think that defense as well is going to be much improved. And so, give me Tulane to be the highest ranked G5 champion, and therefore get put in that 12th slot.
I mean, I like it, brother. John Summerall is, if I had to pick a guy from the G5 to lead my college football program, he's probably getting the first call, man.
He's a football player's coach, which is like the highest compliment I think you can say about a coach. Dude's just a ball
absolutely. Coach. I mean, he's going to be at a major institution in a very short amount of time. He is he's next level in that respect. Made me a Tulane fan overnight just because I knew what type of coach he was, and taking those, some athletes that, LSU doesn't want, and doing some fun stuff with them on the football field. So shout out John Summerall. What do you guys think? I know that you have different answers, but what are your thoughts on Tulane? Whoever wants it, go ahead, Savannah. Yes.
Tulane's actually also my group of 5 pick, and going with what John said, I think it's crazy because you just have to be the best group of 5 team. And I think it's hard because I think Boise State has a chance at it as well, which is hard for me to say. I think people are so high on them because they were the team last year, and I don't know if they're the same caliber this year, but love John Summerall. I think he's great. I knew I picked the right team when they tweeted out that graphic of the meatballs last night. I was like, yes, this was the right choice. Obviously, I got to give a shout out to the O-line and the coach. He was the Saints offensive line coach for the last 5 years, had one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. I think he'll do a great job. which is key because I think Retzlaff will do better with the offensive line situation at Tulane. I think it's hard to win a playbook in 6 weeks, but if anybody could do it, it would be him. And so, yeah, they're also my group of 5 team that makes the playoffs. He already has P4 experience, and he'll be the Retzlaff. And so he'll be good going against the same caliber of talent that he's already used to.
I love it. A lot of green wave love early on. Logan, you gonna make a 3 for 3? How do you feel?
It's not going to be a 3 for 3. I mean, I will say about Tulane, like you were saying, battle tested. They do have games like Duke, another team that's not a high class team, but a team that's been better over the last couple of years. Still an ACC type team, so playing a bigger school. You're going to see teams like that. You got South Alabama, who's actually a pretty decent football team. A lot of people sleep on them. That'll be an early test for them as well. Northwestern coming out of the Big Ten. Northwestern obviously not a big shiner on the Big Ten, but still big name schools. So they're going to be battle tested. So that'll be interesting to see if they can actually capitalize on those and get some big wins out of those type games. Like he said, you don't have to be 12-0 necessarily to come out of a G5. But it does help. It definitely does help if you can go 12-0 or go 11-1 out of there. So if they can sneak some of those games out, I would be very surprised.
But technically, I mean, you could not be in the top 25 and still be the highest ranked G5 champion in the college football playoff if there are no G5 teams ranked. So it's just right. Auto bids are still wild to me. So sorry, I had to chime in on that because
all good. Yeah, I mean, I won't go 3 for 3 on that. My pick is actually going to go back out towards the West Coast, in little Nevada, Las Vegas. I'm going to take UNLV. UNLV to me, a couple guys coming in. Anthony Colandrea coming from Virginia, dual threat guy. His stats aren't crazy off the page. I mean, threw for over 2,000 yards, 13 touchdowns. With Virginia. Virginia, not the greatest talent in the world in the ACC. Didn't have a whole lot of receiving core out of Virginia, in my opinion. So now you're coming to a team at UNLV that's got some pretty good transfers coming in. They got a lot of returning guys. Dan Mullen and the boys, I think, are going to be rocking and rolling. Dan Mullen taking over at the head coaching spot there. So biggest test for them, they're not going to be as battle tested as what a Tulane would be. Their schedule's not really looking the same as them. I mean, you're going to see Boise State's probably the toughest team they're going to see on their schedule. And that's going to be for all the marbles, basically seeing them halfway through the season and then maybe seeing them in a Mountain West championship. But I'm looking at their schedule and whether it's easy or it's not. I mean, we've seen years in the past with Boise State, right? They have pretty easy schedules. They don't really schedule a lot of teams non-conference that are very tough. They have maybe time and time again, very, very periodically. But for the majority, they're just playing pretty easy schedules. I think there's a team that can go 11-1, 12-0 and run that conference. So, they added guys like Alex Orji from Michigan. Obviously, he's not a big thrower, but is going to be a guy they're going to utilize and put in like a Wildcat type offense. And I mean, I've seen even clips they have him actually playing running back, getting some reps over there. So it'll be kind of interesting to see what they can throw off. So,
as a man that also is taking UNLV as his G5 rep in the college football playoffs, I approve of that message. Everything you just said, I've been thinking about for a couple of weeks now. Dan Mullen he's got to have just a lot of fire and energy to get back into this thing, right? I doubted him at the end of his career, but Dan Mullen, show me a Florida coach who's had the results that Dan Mullen had since he left. John, I'm sure you probably tell me quickly that there is none. Dan Mullen can coach football primarily on the offensive side of the. I mean, that's what he does. Obviously, he's going to have that offense humming. Okay, Calandria is a big addition when you talk about the type of offense he does and what he wants to do with his quarterbacks. And then he has a guy that maybe can pick up some of the harder yards, like Logan said, the Michigan transfer Alex Orji. Shout out another big transfer, another blue chip. I mean, they have like 20 blue chip prospects on that roster. Now they've not played together, and some of them have definitely far from hit their ceiling. Shout out Denver Harris, another guy I'm very familiar with. But these are guys with mega talent, and hopefully for Logan and I's sake and his predictions that, we're right on UNLV, who doesn't have a schedule like a Tulane does. You have Boise State. I think probably Colorado State might be their second the most difficult game, and I don't really know what to expect out of Colorado State. They could be a team that wins 8 or 9 games in that conference, or maybe only wins 6. So, I mean, it's going to be wide open. Welcome to, G5 football in the transfer portal era. Depth gets poached. A lot of the rosters look completely different. Turnover everywhere. I'm not buying the Boise State hype. I love Tulane. Personally, if it was like from a rooting interest, I would rather see Tulane in the playoff. But yeah, I'm gonna give some love to Dan Mullen and the boys. Go Rebs. Are we crazy over there, or are y'all? What are y'all thoughts on the Rebels and Dan Mullen?
It feels very like East Coast versus West Coast, like me and John versus you guys, because this is East Coast and West Coast. But no, Anthony Calandria is, I was going to say after Logan said it, he is a locker room guy. He gets the team behind his back. Obviously know him better than most quarterbacks just due to the UVA route that he took. But he can get people to play well for him. And so I see him being successful. He's got the sauce. He's got the right thing to be on the field. He's a great quarterback. I'm sad to have seen him transfer out of the ACC because I think he could have been really successful at Virginia. But yeah, I love the pick. I think it's a good one. I think it's the best pick coming out of the West Coast.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not going to sit here and give Dan Mullen any props. So that's why I didn't pick UNLV. Because, I mean, anybody who coached at Florida is dead to me, except Will Muschamp. Shout out Will Muschamp. He's on Georgia's staff right now. But no, I don't think you can argue. You could go down. You could make a case for Boise State. You can make a case. I mean, our guy Joseph said UTEP. Like, you can make a case for even UTSA in some cases. Like, I think the G5, because of the auto bid, there's a number of teams that if all the cards, end up in the right hand at the right time, that they can make it. So I do think a lot of people are picking Boise State as the easy pick. It's comfortable. And I just don't think Boise State, I think the level of competition that Boise State is going to play has gone up with teams like UNLV, for example. And I think you have some of these other teams that have been building for a while. And I think it's going to take Boise State a season or two to rebuild back to what they had last year.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, so heavily dependent upon Ashton Chinty. And I mean, obviously, Boise State, as mentioned earlier, they are able to get some really damn good players into Boise, Idaho, and they turn them into some, weapons on the offensive side of the ball. They've never really had issues scoring points. But yeah, curious to see what it looks like a year removed from the Ashton Chinty experience. And I don't think, they have that same type of power on the ground. But yeah, G5 football, love it. Can't wait to talk more about it. But Savannah, I'm going to let you choose. Which of the first Power 4 conferences would you like to predict a champion of?
Oh, well, I'm going to go with my Homer conference then. In that case, let's go with the ACC.
Love it. And with that being said, ladies first, it is your conference. Take us away and tell us who you've chosen.
It is. Now I need to remember who I chose. I know I chose Clemson. I have Clemson winning the ACC. I can't remember if I put Georgia Tech. I think I might have put Georgia Tech. Did I not? He's like, no, you didn't. Let me look really fast. I thought I had a graphic. Like I wasn't sure if I would have a graphic, so
I want to pull it up, but then it would show all of your picks, so I'm not going to pull it up, and I can't remember.
No, I can't remember. I was right. It's Georgia Tech. It is.
Okay. I love it. Wow. Tell us why.
Okay. I know that I'm going to get cooked because everyone's like, you said that Clemson's overrated. I didn't say that they're overrated. I just said I'm not sold on them yet. If they win game 1, they're totally fine. And I don't think that they're like super overrated in the sense that I don't think they're a top 5 program. I'm just not convinced. I just need them to convince me. So when they win game 1 inevitably, then we're good. Because my Heisman pick comes from that team as well. Georgia Tech, everybody is sleeping on Georgia Tech. I think that they are going to be so good this year. The way that they took Georgia to 8 overtimes last year. Sorry, John, to bring. I mean, not sorry. You won, so who cares?
I was there.
Yeah, right.
For all 8 overtimes.
Yeah, I mean, like, what a fantastic game to be at. But I just think now it's technically at their place. I know it's at the Benz, but my point is that it's like a home game for them. I think people are sleeping on them, and I think that they both have a path to the championship that is good. And that'll be the two of them.
I mean, I'll go ahead and say my ACC champion is Clemson as well. I'm a big believer in Cade Klubnik. I think, the trio of wide receivers that they have is insane between Antonio Williams, TJ Moore, Bryant Wesco. It's the best trio of wide receivers in college football. Defense, obviously everybody knows about Parker. There's a lot of other players on that front seven with loads of experience for Clemson. They're pretty talented in the secondary. And plus, just looking at competition, I'm not a big Carson Beck guy. Sorry, John. But there's a reason he's in Miami now. And
I'm not a big Carson Beck guy.
I didn't think you were, brother.
This is a family show. I'd tell you how I really felt about Carson Beck.
Yeah, sometimes it depends who's on.
Ghost After Dark.
Ghost After Dark. Oh man, some of these guys in the comments, it's definitely Ghost After Dark time. But yeah, no, the offensive line is going to be the best in the ACC in Miami. I mean, but I'm just not a believer in Carson Beck. I don't think the defense is going to take a big enough of a leap. I think it's Clemson's to lose, and so I just can't see anybody else competing with the Tigers. I mean, even if they were to fall somewhere along the way in conference play. I mean, they're still getting into the conference title game. I think they're really going to be hard to beat by year's end as that defense figures things out on the back end and the offensive line continues to progress. But I mean, from the skill position standpoint, Clemson is as loaded as anybody, in my opinion.
Logan?
I'm also going to take Clemson. Clemson, for me, like you said, the receiving core is huge. My thing is, and I said this earlier today to somebody, was they haven't been able to prove to me, like Savannah was saying, that they are a well-rounded team to be able to run a conference significantly and have no doubts. There's always one game a year where they drop a game to Pitt or drop a game to Va Tech or lose a game that they shouldn't lose. And that's been going back since Deshaun Watson was there and, guys and Taj Boyd and guys like that. I mean, it's been going on forever. And, obviously those years they've won some natties and they've concluded at the very end. But I think this year could be different. You really look at it as a whole. And I think this might be the year that they are together as a whole, defensively talented, which it's always just been one or the other. Offensively, they struggle. Klubnik has struggled, and then he shows signs of being really, really good. This is the year where he just needs to be consistently really, really good. Obviously, the defense has been there in multiple seasons. This is going to be the year where hopefully they have offense and defense and put it all together on the field and really make a boom. First game, LSU, obviously a huge one. That's going to start the season off with a bang. I'm not saying that it's a win or loss for them. Even if it's a loss, not a conference game, not that big of a deal. I think it's a great tester week one. Hey, where are we at? What are we looking like early? Let's get battle tested early and then let's figure this thing out and let's ride it out. Because you do got teams like Georgia Tech. You still got teams that you got to go play the crazy teams like Syracuse that you just never know. They show up one week and you'll have guys like Kyle McCord. I know he's not there no more, but guys like Kyle McCord that all of a sudden they woke up and then they can throw for 300 yards a game. So they're going to have some tests, but I think they'll be fine in conference, and I'm definitely going to take them to win the ACC.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I definitely understand. And Savannah, I blanked for a moment. You took Georgia Tech. I did, right? I'm sitting here thinking I'm agreeing with you the whole time, thinking like, yeah, Logan's making it 3 for 3 here. Clemson, this is easy. And I just have to go back and address the fact that I just completely because you started talking about Clemson. And I love it. I think Brent Key is fantastic. Haynes King, as soon as he got out of Aggie land, became one of my favorite quarterbacks ever, obviously. But I love that. I think it's fantastic. Obviously, Logan, I agree with your pick a little bit more. But Savannah, I would prefer that you're right. I think Brent Key is one of the more likable coaches in all of college football, doing fantastic things in Atlanta. And as a man who can't get past the Georgia Bulldogs in overtime, I feel for the guy. So, team Brent Key. John, what's your ACC champ look like?
It's Clemson, and I'm not gonna rehash a lot of what y'all said. I think the main thing for me is I do think Clemson. They get Georgia Tech early, they get Syracuse early. I think the schedule just stacks up a little bit better than Georgia Tech's if you're counting on health and all those types of things that all matter when you get to the end of the season. And I also think, I think Brent Key is a fabulous coach. I think Georgia Tech will definitely push for the ACC this year. I don't think Georgia Tech has the depth yet. I think they'll get there with Brent Key. I just don't think they just quite have it. And I think Clemson, Dabo finally decided to use the transfer portal. He finally, decided to kind of modernize his approach to college football a little
He
bit.
woke up.
Yeah, exactly. And basically go back on a lot of the stuff that he said were kind of his values and principles, but whatever, that's neither here nor there. But I think Clemson, I just think they have enough returning production. I think the offensive line is going to be good enough. And I just think Cade Klubnik is going to be able to, put that team on his back if he needs to with those wide receivers and make enough plays to win enough games to make a run. I also, I don't know. There's a lot of different opinions with scheduling, right? A lot of people start with cupcakes and you kind of build your way up, but I do think there's a lot to be said to starting with LSU at home. It's like you're going to find out a lot about your team right away. And I think that's another advantage that Clemson has. But I do like Georgia Tech. And I will say, don't sleep on Fran Brown and Syracuse. Fran Brown is going to beat some people. I mean, that dude, he coached at Georgia for a couple of years, and seeing him up close and personal on his motor, I mean, that dude's gonna beat some people.
That's why I brought them up. That was the first team I could think of was them because of that.
Yeah.
That's why.
And I think Georgia Tech has similar. Like I just think I don't think Georgia Tech. I think Georgia Tech. You take Georgia 8 overtimes inside of Sanford Stadium, and I do think people are sleeping on them in certain ways, but I also think like they're not going to sneak up on you anymore.
Agreed.
So.
No, well said, man. Again, I feel like we almost all want Georgia Tech to win the dang conference. Even John down there, he's got a little respect for what's going on.
I don't care what Georgia Tech does except for Black Friday and Mercedes-Benz Stadium. It's the only Georgia Tech game I actually care about.
Hey, I mean, I've got some Texas schools that, obviously not A&M or definitely not Baylor, that I don't mind seeing win. So, I mean, there's nothing wrong with the Bulldog rooting for the Yellow Jackets a little bit. Before we move to the next conference, guys, let's address this. First off, with Mr. Anthony Manzano, appreciate you subscribing to the channel, being here with us tonight, commenting, having some fun. Yeah, man, all you guys like the video, subscribe if you haven't done so, please. But Mr. Manzano is asking if we find it a bit hypocritical for ESPN to push down ACC teams who had 9 wins or more for SEC teams that only had 8 wins, last year. Is this preseason rankings that you're talking about, Anthony, or are you just talking about?
He's talking about the FPI. I know this situation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
well,
ESPN, So ESPN basically, just a quick overview, like 30 seconds. ESPN, they released their FPI, and it's typically the FPI it's just their power rankings, the strength of schedule, it's all that stuff. And typically it doesn't change, right? So people look at it, you'll look at it in, it doesn't change until the season. So you'll look at it in March, April, it'll change a little bit. And then as you get closer to the season, as you get in, July, August, there's not a lot, there's no transfer portal. There's not a lot of, the schedule's not going to change. There's no really inputs to like change it. So it usually doesn't change. This year, it changed, and it changed it pushed some SEC teams up and pushed some ACC teams down, which, for all intents and purposes, doesn't really matter, except for, a lot of people, including College Football Playoff Committee, use a lot of those rankings and analytics and stuff that come from those types of things in their analysis. So,
well said, John, and much more eloquently said than I would have answered that question. So I hope that helps you a little bit there, Mr. Manzano. Me personally, I hate rankings. I think we need rankings in the future. Yeah. Week 4, week 5, week 6. We'll never get it because, we're making predictions tonight. This is fun to do. We need the media. I get it. Mr. Maxwell says that LSU is going to expose Clemson. Doesn't believe in the defense there. If Clemson were to lose to LSU, this is a game Brian Kelly essentially has to win, in my opinion, because the noise only gets louder and louder, and it's going to it's going to magnify just so quickly on him if he drops another home opener. And with this team that has so much talent, especially on the offensive side of the football, and in the second year of Blake Baker's defense, I wouldn't be shocked to see LSU win that game, put it all together. Nobody's hurt. You've had time to prep for Klubnik and Clemson in this offense. You have an idea of what it's going to look like, probably more so than what they know what your offense is going to look like. I don't know. It's tough. But wouldn't be surprised. But honestly, at the year's end, I definitely feel that Clemson will be the better of the two teams. You know what? Well, why not? All right, Saucy, you win. If Clemson doesn't win the ACC, you get a bubble bath stream. I'll even let you pick the topic. Got to be college football related. I swear to you, I ate honey buns the last time I lost a bet to you. That man, 6 honey buns in one stream was so dumb. But we don't win if Clemson doesn't win the ACC. Yeah, man, I got you on that. We'll swimsuit it up, but we'll be bubble bath. Okay,
brother. I'm not tuning in for your bubble bath stream. I'll just tell you that.
I love you.
I love you, but that ain't happening. There's some things you can't unsee.
I mean, I'm not showing. It's going to be, like a shoulder up type situation. We just got to prove
I'm a
that
visual
bubbles
person.
were involved.
I
understand that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't watch. Sooner Cowboys. We are literally talking about the ACC champion at the moment. Haven't got anywhere close to winning the Natty, but I do appreciate you being here just to troll because it takes an energy, and you're putting your energy on. I like it. I'm a fan. Thanks for being here. 2 rushing touchdowns. We'll get to all that. Arch and OSU predictions, all that good stuff. Sorry, going through the comments. Didn't want to miss anything, guys. Thank y'all again for being here, Nash. With the super chat, I don't know what this is going to say, but I'm kind of scared. Incessant Aaron Judge cut-ins. I didn't know you were big on Aaron Judge.
Go Yanks.
Yeah, go Yanks, man. It kind of hurts a little bit, but all right, we're going to go down. I gotta address that comment because it's pretty funny. So yeah, for y'all that don't know, I did lose a wager on Twitter, ran ass naked on a beach. So yeah, John, I'm sure you've seen that, but you want to watch the bubble bath. I'm a little hurt, but we're moving on. No more of this. Saucy is. He said we hear.
This is really giving Ghost After Dark.
It really is. It really is.
Saucy said we'd hear him in the comments, and it's my fault. I'm putting him on the screen. Moving on. All right. We've done ACC. We talked about our G5 playoff reps. Logan, who you want next? Big 10, SEC, or Big 12, brother?
Let's go Big 10.
Little Big 10. We'll start us off, man.
Let's go Big 10. Yeah. Big 10. So this is my opportunity to hate on the Oregon fans just a little bit. It's not your year, so don't get all hyped, please. It's not your year. Trust me, it's not. Out here on the West Coast, we hear it religiously how every year is their year. I'm sure you guys have fans like that, that you hear every year. So they're not even going to finish in the top 3 for me in the Big 10. I think they're going to struggle offensively. Defensively, I think they're going to be very, very solid. But I think when you don't even know who your starting quarterback is going to be 2 weeks before you're playing, and he's a 5-star transfer, we got a problem on our hands. I saw him play 2 years ago at Oregon State when he played for UCLA, and he threw 3 picks and a pick 6 in the first half. Wasn't impressed. Obviously, I hope he got better, but I'm not thinking so. Anyway, we're going to move on from that. Just a little quick shout out there. Yeah, I'm sorry, Emily. I'm very sorry. So second, I do like a couple other teams, but I'm taking Penn State to win this thing. This is their year. I think they're going to put it all together. Drew Aller coming back. I like it, man. I really like it. I know they've been traditionally the team that's always 10-2. They're always 9-3. They're losing the big games. This is going to be the year that they're running this thing. With other teams like Ohio State with a true freshman quarterback coming in, no experience. And you got Michigan, also true freshman quarterback, no experience. This is the year they can capitalize and hopefully take a hold of the big noise and get her done. So, they don't have to play Michigan this year, which is huge. Obviously, they're going to play Ohio State. They do get Oregon, and they get Oregon at Penn State. So a big whiteout game, I'm sure, is going to be for that. So, yeah, I'm going to take Penn State to win this thing.
I like it a lot, man. I do appreciate the rivalry, energy and slander right there. I feel like, you probably waiting to say that for a little while.
I was waiting. How to do it.
I respect that. Chat doesn't seem super moved by Dante Moore. Can he protect the football? Big question mark there. Dan Lanning, obviously knows a thing or two about defense. As you said, they'll probably be pretty dang good on the defensive side of the ball. And Sooners Cowboy with another subtle troll. He might have not even been trying to there, but bringing up DeCorian Moore in general is just blasphemy on this channel. July 4th of nightmares when he chose Oregon over Texas. After committing in front of Grandma to Sark when he was on campus. Sorry to let that slip, but it is what it is. All right, John, let's hit you next. Big 10 champion, who you got?
Let me tell you who is not winning the Big 10, okay? Penn State. My God, can we get off of Penn State? Somebody please tell me what James Franklin has done to deserve any of this. He went out and hired Jim Knowles for $3 million or whatever a year. But James Franklin has had elite defensive coordinators before.
Yes.
I mean, the guy he's had great coaching staffs before. He's had really good football teams before. Really good football teams. I don't understand where all of this Penn State love is coming from, other than last year they got beat by Ohio State and backdoored into a Big Ten championship, and then ended up scoring some points on Oregon. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, here we go. Like Penn State is all of a sudden, number 2 in the country in the preseason or whatever. Like, get out of here, man. James Franklin, he's 13-25 versus top 10 teams. He's versus top 25. He's 3-17 versus top 10 teams. He's 1-15 versus teams that finish in the top 5 in the college football playoff rankings. I mean, the dude, he just doesn't win big games. He just doesn't. And if he does this year, then I'll come on. We can make a bet and come on and eat some crow. But whatever. Penn State is not winning the Big Ten, period. Oregon is going to win the Big Ten. And here's why. Oregon has – I don't know if y'all remember where Dan Lanning came from. Okay, let's just back up. Dan Lanning was the defensive coordinator at the University of Georgia in 2021. Everybody's worried about Oregon's quarterback. Do you know who Georgia's quarterback was in 2021? It started off being JT Daniels, who immediately got hurt like 2 games in. Ended up being Stetson Bennett, who started the spring of 2021 like 3rd, maybe 4th on the depth chart in spring for Georgia. But Georgia had a defense that was led by Dan Lanning. And Georgia figured out how to do just enough on offense. And Georgia went through and won a national championship with Stetson Bennett at quarterback. So people can say like Dante Moore, like people can say all this stuff about Oregon's quarterback. Dan Lanning is going to figure out how to get this team to win football games. He just is. Now, is he going to win it all? I don't know. But Oregon is going to win the Big Ten. I think their schedule sets up better. Penn State, I mean, God, go look at – I need to look up their record in whiteout games, right? They have a whiteout for Oregon. Y'all, Penn State does not have a good record in whiteout games. This whole whiteout thing is like, what – you're doing this thing and you're not, like, even winning these whiteout games. Like, come on. So that's my Penn State, argument. Oregon's going to win it. I think Ohio State, potentially could win it too. And for the record, that wasn't at Logan. I wasn't like coming after Logan with that. I'm coming after like every freaking preseason prediction.
I did say their defense is going to be solid. Yeah. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, Dan Lanning obviously is going to have that side of the football ready to rock. I mean, shout out. I don't know if anybody knows this. I got a lot of family in Georgia. They're all Georgia Bulldog fans, alum. I go back to Georgia twice a year to go see them. So that's like secretly who I root for second, but no one really knows. But I mean, yes, when he came over to Oregon, now I will say, when you show up to Oregon, things are handed on a silver platter for you as far as you got all the expenses and anything you want in the world to make it happen. So when you get there, and if he's as good as he is, there's no excuses when we get there, especially with the funding we got, right? So to me, if we're going to make it happen, let's make it happen. All these recruits, they talk about the recruiting, how it's so good every year. Well, let's see it pay off, because we want to talk about guys that don't do anything. I know James Franklin, I totally agree. He hasn't really won a big game, right? And that's the problem. But
Oregon went 13-0 and won the Big Ten last year. I mean, they haven't won a national championship. I mean, that's where it needs to pay off. But like, come on.
But that's their expectation every year is natty, and then we can't even win a playoff game and get blown out in the first round. So there it is, right? And the only reason why I'm saying Penn State really is because I think it is down in the Big Ten this year. You have Ohio State, very inexperienced quarterback, right? Brand new freshman guy, and Michigan. There's 2 top dogs that they got to go against every single year that they usually lose to. You take those guys out of the picture, now it's really just Oregon who they actually have to play. There's their game. That's the one that they really got to get suited up for, invested to win. If they can win that one, I believe it's theirs. So besides that, I think they can take care of business in all the other ones, but that is the game. That's their game of the year, is playing Oregon.
Yeah, Penn State, by the way, 13-8 in whiteouts. That doesn't scream to me like the key to like winning big games for the record.
It's not 35 straight behind the hedges. I mean, I get what you're saying.
Right.
I definitely do. Not
Right.
even from a Georgia angle. I'm just saying, like, we had a nice little home win streak before last year in October, and so I couldn't use ours, so I had to use John's. Sucks. Savannah, I'll let you pick your Big Ten champion for us. Tell the people who it is.
My Big Ten champion is Ohio State. However, John drives a hard bargain for Oregon. I actually love Dan Lanning. I think he's a phenomenal coach. I think he's one of the coolest guys, and his story is amazing, and his family is amazing. I think he's an incredible defensive mind. Matter of fact, he's probably the missing defensive mind that James Franklin would need to actually win a national championship. It will never happen, right? But I think it's Ohio State and Penn State that play. I think if Oregon was going to win it, last year was their year. And yeah, they won the Big Ten, but I mean win it. Like last year was their year to win a natty and they didn't. So I don't see it happening this year. I think it's Ohio State, Penn State. I think Ohio State wins. I think Ohio State, this is their year. I think they beat Michigan finally as well. And then they do well. I do think they eventually end up losing in the college playoffs. But I would be surprised if they didn't do extremely well this year. I know they have a true freshman quarterback, but we've seen that story before, kind of along the same lines as what John said. Like, he just needs to be good enough. I know that Ohio State really does put a lot of emphasis on their offense and their wide receiver core, but he really just needs to be good enough. I do like Penn State. I do also agree with John in the sense that they've had several amazing defensive coordinators. What do you mean Manny Diaz wasn't good enough for you? What do you mean Anthony Poindexter wasn't good enough for you? Like, do you really think that this is what you needed, that missing piece? I do, however, think that this is the year that James Franklin finally wins that game that he needs to win. I don't know if it's not the Big Ten championship for me, but somewhere along the line, he ends up winning the one that he needs to win. But yeah, I'm rolling with Ohio State this year.
The Buckeyes. I mean, obviously, if history tells you anything, you have a pretty good chance at being in the hunt right there with Ohio State. I mean, you look at their schedule, you look at Penn State's schedule, you look at Oregon's schedule, you look at their games versus one another, and I mean, who wins those games is going to determine who plays in the Big Ten championship. But not so fast, because the Fighting Brett Bielemas are coming to wreck shop, baby. I actually have them losing the Big Ten championship game, but they're getting to Indianapolis. All right, we're sleeping on Charlie Strong. There's a parody account. There's a lot of references to Bert Bielema that I'll make that aren't actually what they should be. His name's Brett. But so I mean, 16 returning starters. Here's the conference schedule that worries me. They play at Indiana. I don't believe in Indiana at all this year. I don't think Indiana should be ranked. I love Kurt Cignetti, but I don't think Indiana has more than a 8-4 ceiling, honestly. I think that game is won by multiple scores for Illinois. I really do. And then you have Ohio State at home with a lot of inexperience on the front seven for their defense. An offensive line, brand new coordinators, brand new line coach. Savannah talked about Julian saying, I think it's going to be fantastic. But point is like Illinois is going to have more experience than anybody that they run into on their schedule. Hudson Clement that they added is a big addition, I think, for Luke Altmaier. Came over from West Virginia, caught 51 balls. Xavier Scott, superstar on defense. Like they have real players. Gabe Jacobs might be the best edge, in the Big Ten. Like they have real players return. All 5 offensive linemen. No, Illinois isn't going to win the Big Ten, in my opinion. But can they make it to Indianapolis? Absolutely. I think the schedule is pretty dang soft. And again, I agree with Logan. I think the Big Ten overall it is down. And so I'm not sleeping on Illinois. I have given it away. I have Illinois in the college football playoff. I really think that they get in. I think they'll be pushed from the Big Ten, to college. How the times that we're in, maybe a couple teams that shouldn't be in it might have happened last year. I think South Carolina should have got in over Clemson, but got to get another ACC team in and maybe too many SEC teams in for some people's likings. I think we see Illinois take advantage of that, but I have Penn State beating them. I'm a believer if Ryan Day can cross the finish line, that James Franklin can. not to disrespect Ryan Day, but I think James Franklin is a superior football coach to him. And if they would coach at different schools, that we would still see Ohio State continue to beat Penn State, but in a worse fashion than they have been doing. That is just one man's opinion. Ryan Day could shove that straight down my throat here in about 2 weeks, and it's just we'll see. But I have Ohio State dropping the game to Illinois. I have Ohio State losing to Penn State, and I'm not sold that they can beat Michigan. I think that might be a real mental hurdle there for Ryan Day, and I think that Michigan, they're a little bit more the bully on the block in that matchup when a handful of years ago it was, shoe on the other foot there. So I'm taking Penn State, but it's going to be over Illinois. You might as well run to your closest book and bet that exact matchup, Penn State over Illinois, Big Ten championship. I don't know what the odds are. Probably pretty good. I'd guess 17 to 20 to 1, somewhere in there. Take it if you find it, because it's happening. Trust in Brett. All right, let's move on.
Well, Brett Bielema did quote one of my tweets this offseason and started the tweet with "Dear John." So I actually got a "Dear John" letter from Brett Bielema this offseason. So that it could be good luck, Gus. It could be.
That is so awesome.
He was paying attention to the important things, which are my tweets. So at least there's that.
The journalist John.
I'm doubling down on Illinois making a college football playoff after hearing that story. That only makes me feel much, much better. We all got our Big Ten champion in, right? We've all kind of 2 Penn State, 1 Buckeye, 1 Duck, right? Thoughts on Oregon? I don't think they're going to be explosive enough offensively. I think the defense will be really good, but I trust Stan Lanning, and anything that he does wouldn't surprise me. I know John's got.
Which offense in the Big Ten does Oregon have to be more explosive than to win the Big Ten?
All right,
because they don't play Ohio State.
Yeah,
they don't play Ohio State.
They don't play Michigan either.
But that defense against Katron Allen, Nick Singleton, Drew Allar, like you said, they're so dominant in whiteout games. But yeah, like we said in the very beginning, or I said in the beginning, it all comes down to what they do versus one another. But I do think Oregon I think Oregon actually has a little bit tougher of the schedule because of travel, as Logan mentioned. But time will tell. I'm going to pick this one. Let's do Big 12. We'll say the SEC for last. Who wants to go Big 12 first? I'll let y'all decide.
I can go.
Rip it, Savannah. You've been talking Big 12 all day.
Yeah, I've been talking Big 12 all day. I'm ready. I got Texas Tech and Utah. Texas Tech did the best in the transfer portal this offseason. They decided to waive their big "we got oil" money, and it paid off, I think. I think that they have the right pieces and the right coaching staff to make sure that those big gets in the transfer portal are worth it. I'm high on Texas Tech right now. That's the short of it. On the other side, I have Utah. They're like, I'm high on Utah this year, and everyone's like, you're kind of crazy. But they came with a trio from New Mexico. Their offensive coordinator, their quarterback, and their starting running back from New Mexico. They already have everything that they need in those pieces, and everyone's like, well, that's a different level of football. Okay, and they beat Auburn. Okay, Auburn finished last in the SEC. They played well against them. And so it's also Utah is about to have arguably the second best offensive line in the country behind Miami. They're truly up for a Joe Moore award in terms of who's returning, who's coaching them, how good they're supposed to be. But between Devin Dampier, Jason Beck, and Rogers, that running back, I think their offense is going to be exceptional. I do think that they lose to BYU at LaVell Edwards Stadium. And that's not me being a BYU grad, because particularly I don't care about BYU like that. I just think it's a hard place to play. It'll be a night game. They're going to be caught off guard by them. But I do eventually have Texas Tech winning, because I don't think that Utah they have a gauntlet of a schedule. They play the top 4 ranked teams in the Big 12 this year, and they have the hardest schedule by far in the Big 12. I don't think they make it fully healthy with depth required to win the Big 12 championship. So I have Texas Tech winning, but those are my teams in the Big 12 championship. Yes, people never know this, but I did go to BYU. My dad coached there at the time, so she is a BYU grad. I don't talk about it often because I have mixed emotions about that school. But yes, occasionally go Cougs.
Go Cougs. All right, John, you hit it next. Big 12 champion. You agree with Texas Tech, or who you got in that wild and crazy conference?
I'm gonna go with Kansas State. Give me K-State, man. And listen, here's why. I think Kansas State, they are. I think this is a team that's built more physical than a lot of the teams in the Big 12. But I also think their skill position. I think Avery Johnson is going to be really, really good. And don't sleep on this kid Dylan Edwards that they got to come in from Colorado State, running back. He played from Colorado, sorry, and he played as a backup last year, but he averaged 7.4 yards a carry. I mean, the guy is really, really good. And I think for me, it's more of, again, this whole thing is like so much of it is schedule, so much of it is timing. I think Kansas State playing Iowa State right out of the gate in Ireland and Farmageddon and the whole thing. Definitely gives them a little bit of an advantage to see where they are. And for me, I'm a big believer in just in what Kansas State has been building, and I think this year they'll finally put it all together.
The fighting Avery Johnson's, man. I mean, he's a fun prospect. He really is. And if he takes any growth or makes any growth in the passing game, I mean, they become borderline impossible to defend in that conference. Dylan Edwards, very plus at running back. They expected big things from him last year. I don't think they got quite as much. So I think this is somewhat of a contract year for Dylan Edwards. I think we see a big year, to be honest. I like both picks, Texas Tech and K-State so far. Logan, I'll let you talk to us next about the Big 12.
Big 12, I'm going to go with Baylor. I think Baylor is going to be the one this year. I think Sawyer Robinson at quarterback is probably the most underrated quarterback in the nation.
That's true. That's a true statement.
You got guys returning like Josh Cameron at wide receiver. I think Dawson Pendergrass got hurt for the season just recently at running back, so he won't be there, but they do have Richard Reese at running back, who was there last year. Both those guys basically split time. So I'm looking at their schedule, and Savannah was saying loaded schedules like Utah has. I think almost every Big 12 team that I was looking at, everybody's schedule is so tough. They all got to play each other. It seems like nobody's escaping a big game. And so I think it's really wide open for a Big 12 conference. But if I had to go with somebody, it's going to be Baylor. I think if it wasn't for losing to BYU last year, I think if it wasn't for that game, they might have won the Big 12 or been, right in there. I think they lost to Colorado as well on a last-second touchdown. But you exit those two games out, they're a couple plays away from winning the Big 12 last year. Baylor is going to be my pick this year. So let's go Bears, man. That's what I'm going with.
Logan is now banned from the channel, guys. We don't allow any Waco or Baylor love here. No, I'm kidding, man. I like Dave Aranda. I feel very strongly about Baylor football, but I will, when they are good, we can have honest talks about it. And I do think he's a plus coach. Things just haven't really worked out since the Big 12 championship run that they made when they got Oklahoma State and that thriller. This is a prove-it year for him. They've got to win now. They finished the year very hot. A season ago, you mentioned the crazy loss to Colorado, or otherwise, that season would have had a little more upside to it. Personally, for me, I don't believe they get it done. I think there's enough holes in the defense to hold them back. I do like Sawyer Robinson a lot. A couple of injuries there, the offense, both running back, wide receiver, but I think that wide receiver room is pretty dang good, probably the best in the Big 12. Outside of my favorite, and that is going to be the future champions of Big 12, the Texas Tech Red Raiders. I'm about to get some shit in the comments for that. I do not care. Texas Tech is one of the Big 12 because it's also a prove-it year for Joey McGuire. You have all this talent. You got Shilwood, the first-year DC, and it's just they crushed the transfer portal. I mean, they just absolutely crushed it. Added to what was already a pretty good defensive line room. For the Big 12 standards, they added a lot to that. They obviously just had the Quentin Joyner injury, which hurts a little bit. I think there's enough there. Savannah talked about that as well, but, Reggie Virgil, Cole Eakin, Caleb Douglas, and then Micah Hudson, 4- and 5-star from Belton. I think we finally see him kind of, the light kind of come on for that young man, and I'm actually really rooting for him. But, when you add a Lee Hunter and a David Bailey and some of the other guys they did in the transfer portal on the defensive side, I expect that defense to be the best defense in the Big 12. There's experience there. But again, first-year coordinator, a wild and wacky conference. You have guys like Avery Johnson, who if he makes us, any strides at all in the passing game, they immediately just rise right there to Texas level for me. You have Sam Levitt. There's a really wild and crazy conference. Personally, I like watching it as much as I like any other, and I can't wait to see it. But I would like to see Texas Tech win. I haven't even looked over here in the chat for a few seconds, so I don't want to see it.
There's some good stuff.
No, I'm sure that there is.
Listen, shout out Joshy Manning for Sawyer Robertson. Gig'em Bart has the best one right now. Though said.
What did he say?
He said that he's not prepared for Tech to make it the college football playoff before A&M does.
Oh.
I mean, SMU already did it, so it's like we start knocking off one Texas program at a time. Logan's got Baylor down here. That's worse than Tech getting in, brother. You let Baylor beat you to the college football playoff.
Just remember, it'll be interesting when they play each other for the title because they don't play each other in the regular season. And Baylor hung 59 on Tech last year, so that's on the mind a little bit.
Exactly.
Okay, but I feel like everybody should be embarrassed in Texas who didn't make the CFP when SMU made the CFP. That was embarrassing.
But Sav,
hey, Penn State won that game. John. Penn State won that game.
SMU kind of cheated because they went to the ACC.
Okay, it doesn't matter what happened. If you're Texas A&M, you gotta be embarrassed by that. Am I crazy? Like you gotta.
Oh no.
Okay.
They definitely think about that.
But if A&M's in the ACC, there's no way they're not making the playoff last year.
Yeah, last year was down there for the
last
ACC.
year for sure.
Yeah,
I don't know if they'd have made it under
substantially
Jimbo.
better this year than last year.
I don't know if they'd have made it under Jimbo, but they would have made it last year under Elko.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say it again for the Aggies in the chat. Elko is a real ball coach. You have the right guy in place. Eventually, it does happen. We'll see if I have you doing it this year because we're going to do playoff or bracket reveals here in just a bit. So y'all stay tuned for that. But we do have one more conference to get to. It's the Southeastern Conference. Nobody cares about that one. So let's make it quick and short. No, sure. John, you're the man. You're the king of, I feel, the four of us regarding SEC content and ball knowledge. Talk to us. Tell us who wins the Southeastern Conference Championship and why it is Kirby's Dogs.
So this was honestly very hard for me. Yes, I'm a Georgia homer. Yes, I bark at people, and I'm not ashamed at it. I don't bark at rival fans. I bark at my fellow Georgia fans. But I'm not ashamed of it. That and yes, Joshy is already calling me a homer in the chat. Here's the thing. I am going to pick Georgia to win the SEC. You could make a case for Texas. And some of you, maybe all three of you, will make a case for Texas. I will be open to hearing it, and it will be hard for me to disagree. But Georgia has a couple of things in their favor heading into the season. Number one, they get Texas in Athens. They get Alabama in Athens. Do y'all know that it has been 2,137 days since Georgia has lost a football game in Sanford Stadium? And they have welcomed number one Tennessee. They've welcomed a lot of good teams over that time. 10-0 against top 10 teams in Sanford Stadium since before COVID. Before the COVID times was the last time Georgia lost. The thing for me, though, less about that, is that Georgia, this is going to be one of the most athletic defenses that Georgia has put on the field. It is the most athletic defense that Georgia's put on the field since their back-to-back national championship teams. It is a young defense, but this defense is full, I'm going to say it louder, full of freaking studs. This Georgia defense has 4 linebackers that would all start at any team in the SEC. And I'm dead serious. That's not homer talk. That's legitimate. I mean, Kirby Smart went out and got the number 1 rated linebacker in the nation like 3 years in a row and convinced them to come to Georgia and sit behind other number 1 rated linebackers. This defense is going to be very good. The offense is where all the questions are. Gunnar Stockton, all these questions about all this stuff. Gunnar Stockton played well enough to win in the college football playoff. Georgia allowed a kickoff return and had 2 turnovers. But Gunnar Stockton, he didn't throw an interception. He threw for 200 and something yards. I mean, the guy didn't play bad. And it was his first start in his career. This is a guy who holds Georgia records for most total touchdowns, for most passing touchdowns, for most passing yards. I mean, this is a guy. I mean, and those are records above names like Trevor Lawrence, like Deshaun Watson. Gunnar Stockton is going to be good, but most importantly, Georgia went out and got some skill players. They got Zach Branch, who I watched in a scrimmage the other day, look freaking electric, breaking ankles out there. They got Noah Thomas, who's 6'6" on the outside. They got Colby Young coming back, who's 6'4" on the outside wide receiver. They got Lawson Lucky, who's 6'3" tight end that they can split out wide. They've got Oscar Delt. They've got Nate Frazier. They went out and got Josh McCray. We'll see how much he ends up playing from Illinois as a running back. Georgia, this is going to be a much better football team than everyone is talking about. The biggest reason I'm going to pick them to win the SEC, and I apologize for ranting, but you told me to go ahead and go for it, so I'm going for it.
We love it.
The biggest reason is Kirby Paul Smart has had to sit here the whole freaking offseason and listen to everybody talk about Notre Dame and listen to, Georgia got beat by Notre Dame. Listen to everybody talk about Gunnar Stockton, blah, blah, blah. Georgia's quarterback is Gunnar Stockton. Everybody talk about how young this team is. Everybody talk about all this stuff. Kirby Smart has had to sit there and go on all these TV shows with Paul Feinbaum questioning Gunnar Stockton and all this stuff. And I told Ghost this last year when I was on a show about Georgia going to Texas. Do not be surprised if the Kirby Smart Georgia football team that you have come to know and love or hate, depending on where you sit, shows up at Tennessee on September the 13th versus Alabama on September the 27th. Do not be surprised if that's the team that you get, because this guy, if there's one thing that he can do, he can make every freaking person in that football building feel like their own mother is doubting them. I mean, he can make them feel like they have to prove something to their own mom or their spouse or anybody. I mean, the dude can just do it. He's just a master motivator. And that's my biggest reason why I think Georgia's going to win the SEC. And I apologize for the long rant, but I got this close to barking. I almost got there.
Kirby Smart calls the mother of his players and has them get down. I just think we found Kirby's loophole. We just figured it out. Kirby finds mom and is like, go catch the football, play harder, tackle, do your shit, man. You stink.
Exactly. No, but that coaching staff, the continuity, having all those guys come back on that staff, I just think it's going to be big. And I think I've known this team. I've watched this Georgia team. I watched them be really, really good. I went through the times when they were when they weren't so good. And dude, I'm just telling you, the guy's just built different. He's just built different. And I think when you spend a whole offseason, this is what happened before 2021. It was all Alabama. It was all coming off of the COVID national championship for Bama. Like it was all that. And then Kirby went out and won a natty. So we'll see.
I'll share plenty of thoughts on Georgia in a moment, but I'm going to continue to let Savannah or Logan speak before me. I need to cool down for a minute because, I've already barked before, and John, to be honest, he made me believe a little bit more in Kirby's dogs than I did before that rant. I've gone back and forth on Georgia and Bama, Texas in the last couple of weeks. I think in some spots, you're really splitting hairs there. But all right, Savannah, Logan, who wants their SEC pick out next?
I'll go. Logan's not talking. I got you. The comments are so funny right now. Someone was like, Joshy Manning was like, really, Kirby Smart's the best gaslighter in America. It's not even close. Hey, you do whatever you got to do to win football games.
Joshy, when we're done, I'm going to find the clip of Georgia walking out of to play the national championship versus TCU. Okay, you can hear Nolan Smith. The team's walking out. This is before the game. You can hear Nolan Smith yelling in the tunnel. They said we is going 7-5. You can hear that before the football game. Okay, I'm gonna get that clip. I'll tag you in it, Joshy. It's pretty good.
Well, Joshy
Someone else-
just said he'd bark. You
Yeah.
need to address that, John. Joshy said he'd bark if y'all beat us.
Well,
I mean,
his bar, like, he needs to take some lessons from you
Yes.
before he gives it a try. Don't embarrass yourself, bro.
never doing that again. Go ahead, Savannah. Rip it.
Someone said, I think it was Saucy Raccoon, was like, has John ever barked for you? Well, look on the timeline. That man's barked in my comments before, but I do agree. Nobody should just be barking. You
No.
need to learn how to do it right. Because
absolutely.
if you do it wrong, like, that's why people think Georgia fans are weird. Like, genuinely, like, figure out how to bark correctly, please.
Well, and we're kind of weird too, but there's also
hey, that's what makes college football great.
Amen.
Okay, so I went back and forth between Georgia and Texas like forever. But basically what it came down to was that Georgia is going to beat Texas at home because of exactly everything John said. They just don't lose in Sanford Stadium. And it's so freaking fun to be there. It is if you guys don't follow me on Twitter, talk about it all the time. Athens is my favorite college town in the entire US. It is so fun. It's fun on game day. John has the best tailgate. Like, it's just a great day, right? Texas loses there. It's just a matter of the fact that Georgia defense will be ready to go. And second, my only concern for Texas this year is the offensive line. And I'm always going to hit offensive line, guys. It's just going to be the case. And they're not going to be bad. I'm not saying they're going to be bad. They're just the most sketchy piece of Texas's team this year.
Bart's my favorite. I love Bart.
He's on a roll.
Yeah, they're hilarious. Yeah, Saucy Raccoon, I'll be waiting for your bark on my timeline tomorrow. You know what?
Well,
I'll be grading everybody's barks on the timeline someday this week. Send them. That's wild, but it's Ghost After Dark, I guess. So anyways, train of thought is demolished from barking. My point is that Texas will win in the SEC championship. And that's just because it's hard to beat a team twice. And I know that, truly, if anybody could do it, I think Georgia is that team. I just don't think that happens this year. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Had the pleasure of meeting Arch Manning. He took an official visit to UVA because that is where his mother went. So I know that I don't know the guy super well. I'm not saying that. But he has the best football IQ of anybody I have ever seen in my life, as he should. You're like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But it is mind-blowing. And then on top of that, Sark, one of my favorite coaches as well, he's an offensive mastermind. So he will make something happen with Texas and with the offense. Like I said, their only piece for me is the offensive line. However, on the opposite side of the ball in the trenches, their defensive line is going to be nasty. One of the best, I think, in all of college football. So I have Texas winning for those reasons. Sorry, I kind of went on a rant there too.
I've seen who you have picked and still forgot, and so I was kind of nervous there, and I was like, "Dang, okay, it was another dog. More barking in the comments is on the way." Respect, Savannah. Respect.
Sav is good at this. She reeled all the Georgia fans in. It's like a Pat McAfee situation.
My heart was moving up and down. Yeah, absolutely. Logan, talk to me, man. SEC champion will be.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Georgia. First time I went to a Georgia game, 2021, college game day against Kentucky. My family brought me out there to go to a game. I've never been there. Phenomenal. So I will second that on the atmosphere. I need to go back. And then they won a national championship that year. So now my family is continuously asking me to go to a game every year because it seems to be good luck. I haven't been back since to an actual game. I go to Georgia, but haven't been to a game since then. So I need to do that. But besides that, I love Georgia. The only thing I have ifs, ands, or buts about is the wide receiver thing from last year. Mm-hmm. Leaves me a little skeptical. Gunnar Stockton, I do believe that he can get it done. Seen little glimpses. Obviously, we know him from high school of what he can do, like John was saying. So don't doubt that. It's the receiver thing for me. Defensively, I think they'll be fine. They're going to compete. That being said, I am going to take LSU to win the SEC. Reason being, it's like that legacy thing. Kobe Bryant passes away. Lakers win a championship. Kyron Lacey passes away. I'm thinking it just brings on this little flow, gets them into things. They have this motivation. Let's go win a natty. I'm liking LSU. I like how the schedule plans out for them. Obviously, the first game is a great tester for them. I really like having them play Clemson week 1. Let's see what you got. They win that game. I think it is on the train tracks from there. So I'm going to take LSU to win this thing. They got Aaron Anderson coming back at receiver. He's going to be their top dog at receiver. And then obviously, Nesmeyer obviously slinging the rock. So I'm going to take LSU to win the SEC. That is going to be my pick.
So we got one dog, one tiger, one longhorn.
Yeah, what you got for us, Ghost?
Well, I mean, where's this comment at? I need to find. I've got a dear friend in here that had a fun comment. Where? Okay, right here. Here's the thing, Chris and John and Logan and Savannah and 652 other people that are watching. Texas will be in Atlanta. I will guarantee you that Texas makes it to Atlanta. There's not anyone, in my opinion, that on our schedule that has the firepower to catch us more than maybe one time. Texas going to Athens, maybe that is the hiccup. Texas going to Gainesville. Texas is going to be too good on the defensive side of the football to get whipped in any of these games. The later that we get into the year, Arch Manning, the reps, the offensive line, I think it's going to be a little bit better than people think. Of course I'm sitting here telling you that. I'm a Longhorn fan. But I mean it genuinely. Y'all know I would not sit here and bullshit you if I thought the offensive line was going to be a major handicap. I talked about our run game all last August before I really knew any of you three and told people, I think our run game keeps us from having a national championship upside. And not to pat myself on the back, but I was right. I don't see the same issues that kept Texas and that ceiling a little bit lower last year being the same this year. I think the offense will be a lot more explosive. I think Sark has kind of been driving with a bit of a restrictor plate on. We're going to throw the ball downfield this year, something we have not done very successfully in a very long time at Texas. Arch Manning can use his feet. We've not had a quarterback since Sam Ehlinger that could really pick up and extend plays on the ground. And again, these offensive linemen that are so brand new, 4 or 5 new starters, yes. 3 of the 5 have started games at some time in their tenure. The left tackle stepped in for Kelvin Banks last year in 2 very, very big moments and dealt with Texas A&M and Georgia and was our best offensive lineman in those games. And so I'm confident about the offensive line, but of course, I mean, this is a prove-it world. College football, we want to see it done. We all have questions about Logan with LSU. I have questions there. I want to see LSU prove that they can tackle somebody in the run fit, that they can be responsible and disciplined there, clean things up. Because I'm not used to watching LSU not be able to tackle anybody. I watch LSU defenses just suffocate teams the way that Georgia is now. And so when Georgia talks about, John and others talk about Georgia, I mean, I really do agree. I think this has the makings to be Kirby's best defense in a few seasons. And then when you talk about Zachariah Branch, who's an electric player that you can line up all over the field, outside, inside. Hell, you can give him the ball out of the backfield if you truly wanted to. He can do whatever. Your tight end duo, Lawson and Delp, I mean, it's really strong. Georgia's not going away. I've told Chris, I'll concede, I've been trying so hard to try to rile up the Bulldogs. I've been trying to leak out there. They're going 9-3. I've been trying to, and it hasn't worked. Georgia's going at minimum, in my opinion, 10-2. They'll be back in Atlanta. It's going to be Texas and the Dogs, but Texas gets his vengeance. Texas wins the SEC. I have Texas's only loss being in Athens. I will say that. I respect the home field of Georgia. Georgia definitely ends their Alabama woes. They take care of the Tide, and when they come over there early in the season. Mad respect for Kirby. I think Kalen DeBoer, he got his OC back with Ryan Grubb. I think that's a huge thing for them. I still think they're a little bit of time away for him to really get it rolling like Kalen DeBoer can. The defense should be better, but they're depending on a lot of guys that just have really had hopes in the past and just it's never really came to fruition. And so I need to see that. Would I be shocked to see Alabama, Texas, or Georgia win the SEC? Not at all. Would I be shocked to see LSU win it? Honestly, I would be a little bit shocked because I think that Brian Kelly and the culture there is far cry from what LSU fans are accustomed to. I just don't think there's that same physical or mental toughness out there at the moment. And they could, again, if they have the talent, man. We talked about it earlier. Wouldn't be surprised to see them win that opening game versus Clemson, and then things kind of get hairy there. You kind of have their Texas Charlie Strong versus Notre Dame in 2016 moment, where things just kind of work together. But I'm also not going to pretend that Notre Dame team was any good. So I'm done ranting. Texas wins the SEC. and they beat Georgia to do it in their backyard. And my friend Chris Allen can never text me again anything about Kirby Smart ever.
Listen, I saw a comment. Shout out to my brother who actually replied to this comment. Somebody saying that the SEC championship game being in Atlanta is foul. Georgia has a terrible record in the SEC championship games and in that stadium. So people say it's like backyard. It is not. Yeah, exactly. It is not. Look at Georgia's record in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. It is not good, especially in SEC championship games. Georgia's lost to LSU there. Georgia's lost to Alabama a number of times there. It's not definitely not an advantage in that regard. But dude, I like all these picks. I think they're all good. I could see. I mean, I know what you just said about LSU, Ghost. But I could see LSU if they could figure out the defense. Like I could see them.
That's the big question mark, man.
Yeah,
well,
I could
even
see
the
them
offensive
pushing.
line though is.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. I could see them pushing. I think the thing with LSU, I knew LSU was in trouble. I knew LSU was in trouble when Brian Kelly came out the other day and said, "I've seen NFL offensive lines, and we have a really good offensive line." I was like, "Wait, if you're in fall camp and you're talking about your any position group being like really good, and you're in fall camp, it's that." In my experience, all the upper echelon coaches, use press conferences in fall camp to challenge their players and not talk about how good they're going to be. So I think that could be a challenge. But no, I think I could totally see all these teams winning. With Alabama, I'll just say this. I just don't see Ty Simpson. Here's a little piece of trivia. Ty Simpson has played in 7 more games than Gunnar Stockton. Since he's been at Alabama, they came in at the same time, played in 7 more games. He has almost 250 yards less passing than Gunnar Stockton, and he has a 10% completion less than Gunnar Stockton. So his completion rate is like 52% or something. It's like 10% less than Gunnar Stockton and 250 yards less passing, and he played in 7 more games. So I think Ty Simpson maybe he can be that guy, but my question mark for Alabama is really that. It's like, dude, how good can Ty Simpson really be? Because, he hasn't played a ton of football, but he's played, 16 or 17 games since he's been at Alabama, and they haven't let him do much. And I don't know, that doesn't scream, elite Heisman Trophy like caliber quarterback.
John says Alabama is wasting Ryan Williams. Y'all type that out, print it up on.
Well, Georgia's going. You said Georgia's going 7-5, so.
Fair. And I feel like people would actually believe you if you went out and typed those.
Yeah, Ghost said Georgia's going 7-5. So, go ahead.
Well, I've said crazier. I love it. I mean, I think legitimately any of us have a shot. I just would be more surprised if Logan wins, to be honest, or if LSU were to win for Logan, because I'm just not a believer in Brian Kelly. But like you said, John, I just more question marks the more I think about Alabama. The closer we get to the season, the more question marks that pop up in my head. But with that being said, right before we move on to the brackets, we still got to go through and do our brackets, so we'll do that a little bit quicker. Gonna answer you, Sooners Cowboy here. What if Oklahoma figures out the offense? You can figure out the offense if you can block for John Mateer, Jaden Ott, and the receiving core is not bad. Giovanni Gibson, Jaden Gibson. Sorry for your names. Who's Deion Burks, the big dog? There you go. I mean, to me, Deion Burks should never be. I should not say never, but I just don't think Deion Burks should be the number one receiver on a good offense. Seems to me like he would be a fantastic number 2 guy, a guy that would have flourished under like a Lincoln Riley. Y'all just have like a CeeDee Lamb in front of him that makes his job a little bit easier. But for me personally, I have to see the offensive line. I've got to see it work. I'm not going to believe it until I do. The defensive side of the ball, different story. I think the linebacker core may be a little bit better than last year. I think Danny Stutzman, leaving. Some Sooners talk about that. I think you're better in that spot. I think the secondary, you got to figure some things out. There's a big battle at safety there. Some question marks. You got a lot to figure out. But personally, I think you have a 6-6 floor and an 8-4 ceiling. I think I've said that with John Williams in the show the other day. But y'all don't get to comment on OU. It'll take too long. We got to move on. Who wants their bracket revealed first? Who wants to give us a quick rundown on their bracket?
Just
Go
show
for it.
mine. I'll give you
Yeah,
30
it
seconds.
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
All right.
Let the chat see this homer bracket.
All right. John's been talking about the dogs. Let's talk some more. How do I get this to
All right.
disappear so we can see this? Go ahead, sir.
I do have LSU making the playoff. That's going to be tough because of their schedule. But I do have them in the playoff. Miami as well. Miami, I think, is going to get an ACC at large bid because Miami doesn't play Clemson. They don't play Georgia Tech. They have a favorable schedule. They do open with Notre Dame. They do play Florida. I think they'll win one of those games. But even if they drop both of them, they have an opportunity to run the table. So I got
Whoops.
Nope, go for it.
Trying to fix it for you.
You're good.
Dang it. Keep talking, brother. I'll get it back.
You're good, man. I got we talked about Tulane. I've got Texas. Obviously, I think Texas is going to be really good. Texas could potentially win the SEC, but I've got them being the second highest SEC team. On the right side, we got Penn State, we got Kansas State, we got Notre Dame, we got Alabama. I do think Alabama, they're going to get the benefit of the doubt because of their schedule, because they do have to go play at Georgia. They do play, I don't know how good Florida State's going to be or not, but they do play Florida State. Tej in the chat, we gave a whole spiel on Tulane. Go back and watch the show. I do not have Georgia Tech making the college football playoff. I also, I don't have, like, for me, I think when I look at this, I just don't see a lot of surprises. I mean, Kansas State and Tulane maybe, but I think the rest of this is, I think they're pretty standard. I don't know, Ghost, like how I advance this or not to show the rest of it, but this is my.
So if you want to, if you have it and you want to share your screen, you're welcome to do that.
Yeah, I don't have it in this format though. Let's see.
I'm just going to be telling who all I have. So
cool. Yeah, I'll just tell it then. I've got LSU beating Miami. They'll play Georgia. I've got Texas beating Tulane. They'll play Ohio State. I got I think I've got Alabama. Hang on, I've got it right here. Sorry, y'all. I said I'd be quick, and then now.
You're great, brother.
I've got Alabama beating Notre Dame, and I have you're about to hear it. I have Kansas State beating Penn State. So to advance to the semis, I'm going to have in the semifinals. I do have Clemson beating Kansas State. I've got Oregon beating Alabama. I've got Georgia beating LSU. I've got Ohio State beating Texas. Sorry, Ghost.
Not the first time.
Yeah, and then the semifinals, I've got Georgia beating Ohio State. I've got Oregon beating Clemson. And we're going to have an Oregon and Georgia national championship. This is in honor of my nephew, Judson, who lives in Portland, Oregon, who is always torn between Georgia and Oregon. We're going to make him pick a side, but it's going to be Georgia versus Oregon. And them dogs are going to be barking, baby. Georgia national champions 2025. Book it.
And then Kirby Smart retires, heads to the Atlanta Falcons, and just dominates. And the city that he is making his own. And
dude, he better not head to the
Lord
Falcons.
knows Atlanta Falcons need it.
No, Kirby. Listen, I'm telling you, Kirby's made enough money when he retires. He ain't going nowhere. He's going to the lake.
Yeah, and I start to feel like it might be a little sooner than college football fans think. But crazy times out there to be a head coach in the college football world. It really, really is.
He'll leave for 2 years, decide that he missed it, and be some quality assurance guy at a different school. It's a sickness. I tweeted about it yesterday. They can never leave for that long.
I don't think he seems like that type, though, as far as being just an analyst. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's true. That's fair.
I don't know. I mean, Gary Patterson did it, and I thought the world of Gary Patterson. He's not a national championship winning coach, but I mean, GP knew what he was doing. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. That it's just got to be hard for these guys.
Listen,
doing it that high of a level like Kirby. Go ahead, John.
A couple of comments. So my Georgia friends, including my brother, are all nauseous now because I picked Georgia to win the national championship. I do want to remind everyone I did pick Georgia to win the 2021 national championship, and I did pick Georgia to repeat in 2022. I did not pick Georgia to repeat, so we got a pretty good record. So y'all can all calm down. And then Travis says Georgia isn't going unbeaten and then winning the whole thing. I don't necessarily think Georgia is unbeaten as the number 1 seed. I will make this hot take right here on the show tonight. I don't think any team in college football this year is going to run the table, is going to go into the college football playoff undefeated.
I like that. I'm with you on that.
Yeah, I think all these teams are going to take a loss. I think
100%. I agree.
I could see Georgia being that situation where they, where they do lose to Texas, for example, in Athens. And beat Texas in the SEC championship and get the number 1 overall seed. Could totally see it. I could see Georgia dropping a game like the voodoo game on the Indian Burial Ground at Auburn. Because crazy Auburn voodoo and is real. I don't think necessarily. Don't read this as, Travis. Georgia could drop a game. We saw it last year. I mean, I would say Ole Miss was that game for Georgia last year. Georgia, I mean, went to Oxford and just got their teeth kicked in. Like that defensive line just stonewalled Georgia. So I could see that happening for Georgia this year. But I don't see it being, I'll just go ahead and say this. I don't see it being to Texas or Alabama in Athens. And I do see them winning the SEC championship. So, but I don't see any of these teams waltzing into the college football playoff undefeated this year.
I fully agree with you there. I don't think we see it. Too much parity in the game, transfer portal, NIL, we can, it does have some positives, about it. I know it's made, things chaotic, but, we will not see in my opinion, another Saban-like Alabama run, not with the way that the current climate is in our game. Mr. Logan, are you ready?
Ready.
Let's talk your bracket, my friend. Pop that thing on up there. All right, big dog, walk us through it and who you have as your natty champ.
Yeah, so top left, obviously I took UNLV earlier for that G5. Looking to see if they can go 12-0, maybe being that only team that might be undefeated or getting a 1 loss, maybe the Boise State halfway through the year. I like Louisville to be that second or third team coming out of the ACC. I think between Clemson, Louisville, and Georgia Tech, I think Louisville's that sleeper team. They see Clemson really, really late in the year. I think that's going to be a test, especially at Louisville for Clemson. So I like them. We're going to go Georgia Tech and Texas down there at the bottom left, 12 versus 5. Like I said, I do like Tech coming out of the ACC. I know traditionally you're not seeing 3 ACC teams coming out, I think, this year just because of how crazy and, it's pretty unpredictable of what we got going on this year. I think this could be the year that happens. And then I got Texas going against them. We got Arizona State, Alabama in that top right. Sun Devils, I know not having Cam Scatabo obviously is a big downfall for them. I believe Sam Levitt, he's a local kid here out of Westland, Oregon. I know Sam. I think that's gonna be a good one for them. I think they're gonna sneak in. Alabama, like we're talking about with Simpson, coming at quarterback. I don't know how that's gonna work. ASU got a West Point running back transfer. Obviously an Army guy, West Point. They run the football a lot, so he's gonna be a tough runner. Might not be Cam Scatabo level, but pretty solid there. I got Texas A&M sneaking in that SEC. I think with the schedule they have, everybody's got a tough schedule. Everybody in the SEC is playing either 5 or 6 ranked teams, right? Like right now, preseason ranking, it is madness. So you don't really know. Everybody plays everybody. And I like A&M. I'm shouting out Liam Neighbors for this one. I got to do it for you. I'm going to take A&M against Michigan. Michigan, I think they sneak in that third spot for the Big Ten this year. Even with Bryce Underwood, I think that's going to be a pretty positive attribute for them. Everybody's really excited down there in Ann Arbor. And then moving on from that, which I wrote it. Let's see if I got it. Yeah, we got it. Okay. So I got moving on, Georgia Tech and Texas. I took Texas to move on there. We'll take Texas. And so they would end up playing Baylor in that round. Up at the top, UNLV, Louisville. I'm going to take UNLV to actually beat Louisville in that matchup. I'm liking what I'm seeing out of UNLV's camp going on. So take them there against Penn State, number 1 overall. We got top right, ASU, Alabama. I'm going to take Alabama to win that one. I'm still a little skeptical about that pick, but I think overall experience and just the name itself, I'm going to take Bama there. This is going to be bottom right here, A&M, Michigan. This is a 50-50 toss-up coin. If it's at Ann Arbor in the big house, obviously really, really tough environment. Marcel Reed, I don't know if he's going to be able to handle that pressure going in the big house with some noise like that. So I'm going to have to take Michigan and move on there. And then after we take Michigan, they got to play Clemson. We'll start there. Michigan and Clemson, got to take Clemson there. Clemson's, I think, just a way better team overall. We got Baylor and Texas. Definitely going to take Texas. Arch Manning, really looking forward to seeing that guy sling the ball this year and actually get full time. Seeing what his presence is like in a Texas uniform. Can't wait for that. And then you'll have Penn State, UNLV in that top right. Talking about those Penn State Whiteout games, again, the game at home. I don't remember exactly how those games play out for the home seating, stuff like that. But Penn State as the home team in general. I'm going to take Penn State with a big W there. Probably double digits, I would imagine. Alabama, LSU, classic rivalry. I got LSU winning that one. I think Nussmeier is going to be slinging the rock pretty well this year. I'm hoping he's going to be a big-time Heisman candidate for me. And then we got Final Four. We're looking at Texas, Penn State, Clemson, and LSU. Texas and Penn State. This one, I got my belief in Penn State this year, man. I really do. It's going to be another game. I don't know. I think it's going to be probably a really, really low scoring game. If it happened, it'd probably be like a 20-17 type game. I'm going to take Penn State to win in a very, very close one. And then we got Clemson, LSU on the other side. Clemson, LSU, I'm going to have to take LSU. The Heisman candidate, Nussmeier, are going to be slinging it this year. And then we got Penn State, LSU. That could be a high-scoring one, maybe a track meet, which would be a fun, exciting natty to watch. And I'm going to take Penn State to win it all for the first time in I don't even know how long. Way too much. I literally tried to go back and see when the last time they won a national title and couldn't find it. So this is the year for Penn State. We're going to ride with Penn State this year. Natty champs.
Penn State, natty champs, first time. And yeah, my grandfather played at Penn State, and I can't even tell you the last time that the Nittany Lions won it under, or what year it was under Joe Paterno. I want to say in the 80s. Somebody fact check me on that. John, do you know?
I don't. But it was I think it was 1982.
I will say the 80s.
Yeah, no, I think it was 1982. Because they beat Georgia.
They
beat Georgia for that national championship. 1986.
86. Okay.
Yep, 82 and 86 were their last titles.
Well, the chat, has a lot of opinion about the bracket here, Logan. And anytime that you put Texas, Baylor, and Texas A&M all in the same 12-team bracket on a channel called, relating to a Texas guy, that's going to happen. That would be pandemonium if Texas and Baylor met on the football field. Absolute chaos. That would be immediately the most important thing that ever happened in my entire life. I truly hope to never have to see that.
I did it on purpose, man. I did it on purpose.
I love it. One thing I will say is that I love the Louisville pick. I'm a huge Louisville fan this year. I love Jeff Brom. I love that he has a Miller Moss at quarterback, Chris Bell, Colin Lacey, a wide receiver. It's going to be really, really fun. And then he's got a lot of experience on the defense and a pretty dang good running back room with Isaac Brown and Duke Watson. So like the Cardinals are going to be a threat, and they almost made my field. And so. Really, really well done. I like it, man. I mean, got Texas A&M in there. You got Arizona State. You got some really, really fun offenses, fun quarterbacks. Teams that, dark horses, I guess, if you'll say. And I guess you can't really call Arizona State that considering they made it last year. But, Savannah, it is your moment. Are you ready to release madness on us?
Yes, give me some of whatever Logan's on now.
That's what I'm saying.
I
mean,
hey, it's a wide open year. Like we said, I don't see anybody really coming out of it unscathed. Everybody's gonna get beat, and I just think the talent with the transfer portal and how that plays into things just makes it way crazier. It makes it a lot more fun to watch. Everything's just a little more unexpected. So to me, it's everything's just, hey, what do you think? First glance, the more I look at things, and that's another why I took LSU to win the SEC. The more I look at Georgia and Texas and just over and over again, I'm just like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't even know who I want at this point. So just give me somebody else.
Right.
So yeah, I mean that's part of the reason why I took them too. Is I'm just like, you know what? Maybe I'm completely wrong and looking at the total wrong page here. So
yeah, that's definitely how teams like Georgia and Texas will make you feel. Just give me somebody else. So I respect it. I will say this, Logan. If your bracket comes true, it will be like 2007 level chaos.
That's what I want.
Because that's
what we're aiming for.
Yeah,
you're just missing Pittsburgh.
Hey, believe for what you want, because if that all happens, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, you've got Baylor. He had Baylor. He had A&M. He had Michigan. You're just missing Pittsburgh, man. We need Pittsburgh in there. But I think that was Dez's bracket. Chris will tell me if I'm wrong, but the good day. Savannah, you ready? It's your turn, girl. I'm curious. I can't remember.
I can't either. We're gonna find out together.
All right, let me hide these mugs real quick. Go ahead, Savannah. Let us know where we're at, what we're looking at, and who wins this thing.
Perfect. So I have Miami and Georgia Tech with another ACC matchup, which I guess goes well because they don't play each other in the regular season. So give it to me. Love that. I have Miami winning though. They're just more cut out for the CFP and what it takes. I think they also have an easier schedule to get there, easier path to get there. So they'll be less beat up. And then I have Tulane, Ohio State. Yeah, like John said, we talked about Tulane a while ago. They're my pick. But I do have Ohio State winning that. On the other side of my bracket, I got Texas Tech and Alabama. I think that Texas Tech wins, actually. I think a lot of people are always high on Alabama just because of the name and the brand and the historical record that they have. But give me Texas Tech. Throw something crazy. I don't know what I have in the bottom right.
There you go.
Thank you. Utah and Notre Dame. I think that Notre Dame's really turned a corner ever since Brian Kelly left. I really think that's what it was. I'm high on Utah, but not so high to think that they win a college football playoff game. I don't think they're quite there yet. I think it will take a year for them to get to that point if everything stayed exactly the same. So that leaves me with Texas playing Miami. Texas wins. Hands down. Texas is really cut out for the college football playoff. I do have a little bit of a struggle here because last year every single team that had a bye lost. So I have to split the teams with a bye 50-50 because I think teams with a bye do better this year, but I don't think it's as easy as them for winning their games. So with that being said, I also have I guess next up I have Georgia and Ohio State winning, and I have Ohio State upsetting Georgia. And then for my top right bracket, I have Texas Tech playing Penn State. I have Penn State beating Texas Tech. And then bottom right, I have Clemson against Notre Dame. And this one was a hard one for me, but like I said, I got to split it 50-50. So I do have Notre Dame upsetting Clemson. That leaves me with Texas playing if Tech beats Bama. Okay, everybody has way too many high expectations for Kalen DeBoer at Alabama. Like, Nick Saban will never exist again. And I do think that Alabama can become that caliber of a team again. Now I'm going to go on a tangent rant. But it's going to take time. And to be honest, DeBoer has the backing of Nick Saban, and I really think that that's all he needs. And so I think that he gets the job done there. I think he's better off this year having more of his people. Little bit of insider information that I don't know if I should share, but I guess we're dropping it anyway. I know he didn't necessarily get his first pick at every single position group for coaching staff that he wanted. So now that he has more of those pieces put together, I think he's set up for more success in the future. But I still have Texas Tech beating them, okay?
Yeah, but an Alabama fan is going to come poison his trees if they lose to Texas Tech. So
that's factual.
Honestly, is there anything better than the whole like Alabama fans poisoning the Auburn trees, though? I think that might be my favorite thing that's ever happened.
Harvey Updike, holler at your boy.
And he called into Paul Feinbaum and just admitted it. Like, just anyway. Wow. Sorry.
That's
digress.
If you don't, I don't really watch TV outside of sports, but if you need something to watch, please watch the ESPN 30 for 30 on when the Alabama fans poison the Auburn trees. It's a classic. He's like, damn right, I poisoned them.
And they're going to die.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, wow. Way too many tangents. Okay, so now I have Texas playing Ohio State. Yikes. Let me come back to that. Texas playing Ohio State, and I have Penn State playing Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame beats Penn State. Bottom line. Don't have anything to say about it. So I guess I have Notre Dame in the final, which, yes, sure, we'll go with it. And then I do. This is going to be probably my hottest take. I think we're going for a third year in a row with no SEC championship in the title game, and it will be Ohio State, Notre Dame, and Ohio State wins the Natty. I might be as crazy as Logan after I just said it, but sure.
I was gonna say, I mean, you're bagging on mine, but I mean,
I wasn't bagging. I just said I want some of what you're having, which I guess I'm having it.
If you have a 12-team college football playoff the second year in a row, and you get the same two teams in the national championship in back-to-back years,
something may have happened.
Then no. If you get the same two teams, if you have a 12-team playoff, the whole idea was like expand the playoff,
yeah.
And then you get the same two teams playing for it again. Like they will, like people. Greg Sankey will burn down the college football playoff. Like he will like make the SEC its own league, super league.
So, something happened, but then I just had to ride with it. So
it may work. It may work. I'm just saying, like, I think having the same two teams play is almost as insane as Logan having Baylor as a 4 seed.
You're right, and it's probably as equally as insane as having Texas A&M in the playoff and Louisville.
Like I said, you weren't. Maybe bagging wasn't the word to use because you weren't necessarily bagging on it,
never bagging.
But no, the copious amount of drugs that Chris just
it's actually my really big. Someone commented on how big my water bottle is. That's what it was.
Dude, Mountain Valley Water, by the way, not a sponsor and not an ad, but it's so good. It's the best water.
Every time I go to an Amazon return at Whole Foods, I buy one.
I love how Savannah just picked Ohio State to win the national championship, and Polly Walnuts is in here yelling about Sarkisian and Ryan Day. No one's – I mean, I get it, but it's just funny. I mean, like, you're entitled to say that you won the national championship, but it's just funny because she's boosting the program, predicting you to go back-to-back. But, God damn it, if anybody talks about old Sarkisian, forget that. Sorry. Oh, man. These comments have been awesome. I'm not knocking you. I'm glad you're here, Paulie. That's just funny because it's hard to please people, man. It really is out here. Buckeyes are tough. Go like the video.
Joshie Manning is hilarious. Hilarious.
Yeah, he is. He's not going to hold back. He's going to be really honest with you at all times.
My kid. The comment, Ghost, you got to put up the comment about the kid. That's a good one.
My kid
can I see it?
Screaming. You know he meant
My kid just heard Savannah's picks and started
He
screaming.
even spelled my name right. So he's like, these picks are trash.
He's like, we're making sure you're getting this name. So great.
Honestly, you're not wrong. You might not be wrong. I guess we'll see in 2026. And I did warn everybody. I tweeted yesterday and I said, either I'm on crack or I know ball better than anything
Oh, I'm dying.
We're gonna find out later.
That's so good.
I understand, Paulie. I get it. That's it's fair, man. It's the media, and media is just all gonna hype stuff up. I'm about to sit here and tell you why I think Texas is gonna do really well in the college football playoff. I mean, but at the same time, you got to start appreciating that Sark has developed. Sark has continued success here, which, I mean, I say continued, a couple of years. A lot more than we had for about 15. So let us be happy, okay? Yeah, our rank. We'll see. Got a chance.
It's because Sark sobered up. He sobered up, so
hey, we're not gonna
everything's gone up from there.
We're not getting on that. That'll get me. We'll talk for 3 hours if I get on that. I will show you my bracket though, and I'll let y'all laugh at me because there's a little bit of a couple funny things on here. First and foremost, I did make the mistake of having Texas Tech in the 4th spot, being lazy and not putting the conference champions as the top 4. So apologies on that, but we're gonna play it out as it is. I'm sure you can see UNLV is in there. We talked about Dan Mullen and his team of former blue chip prospects. We'll see what happens. And then you go to the 11th seed, and you're looking at Florida State, and that is something that might draw some attention, draw some eyes. But I just do not think the ACC is very strong of a conference. I truly, truly don't. And I think last year was a little bit of worst case scenario, obviously, for Florida State. Terrible quarterback play, terrible offensive line play. Things hit the fan very, very quickly. I think the Castellanos is a perfect fit for that type of offense that they're wanting to run. They added some really, really nice pieces on both sides of the football. You look at their schedule, you're looking at, you've got, North Carolina State. It's one of the key ones I have circled. Five key games for them that I think if they can go 3-2 in and get into the ACC title game, that the committee will maybe right a wrong, or what they think is a wrong. They didn't get them into the college football playoffs in 2023. My team benefited from that. Of course, we know that was due to injury from Jordan Travis there, fantastic quarterback for the Noles that year. But so yeah, don't hate me for the Florida State pick. I just kind of the college football gods spoke to me last night when me and Chris Allen were discussing these things, and I just could hear the war chant, and I could see Chief whatever his name is, going out and just throwing the spear. And the Noles are going to be back, baby. You got to believe it. They're coming. But all right, let's talk matchups. I just wanted to address the kind of wild things there. I've already professed my love for Illinois. I've already told you I think they make the playoffs. But let's go matchups. We'll go 12-5 UNLV, Alabama. Give me Alabama there. It's UNLV, Alabama. All right, so then we have Illinois, Notre Dame at the top left. You know what? Notre Dame, Marcus Freeman, I'm actually a believer. I think Ben Brock's offense is a little more upside to it this year with the quarterback who's a little higher ceiling as a passer than Riley Leonard had. And again, they have so many damn good players on the defensive side of the ball, especially in that secondary. Notre Dame's going to be a really tough out. Notre Dame moving on to the quarters, top right, South Carolina. I am a believer. They're going to go 9-3. They're going to get in. They went 9-3 last year. Maybe should have got in. I think Lenore Sellers has enough around him to go and have a monster season and do enough to get South Carolina, Shane Beamer into the college football playoffs. Obviously, I think Dylan Stewart, Chris Thomas is pretty dang good on that defensive line for them. Had them, I believe, combining for 11 sacks, and that's seems like child's play for what Stewart has the upside to do. Ohio State being back in, benefits of a weak schedule in the Big Ten, but also uber talented and just inexperienced at the moment. And then, Florida State, Georgia. So I'll take Ohio State to beat South Carolina because by that time, Julian Sayin will be pretty dialed in. And then I will take the Dogs of Georgia to beat Florida State and Mike Norvell and the Noles run. Then let's just stay right there. We got Georgia and Penn State. Now, this is a game that John is going to maybe never speak to me again for, but Penn State would probably get in there and handle Georgia by about the same way that Notre Dame did. They're gonna suffocate that offense. I don't know if Georgia has the offensive line to get in there and deal with an aggressive, a really, really stylistic defense from Penn State and the creativity that Jim Knowles will throw at you. But hey, maybe Mike Bobo can prove me wrong and he can win that battle of wits. I just am not the biggest believer in Mike Bobo in the big spots. Sorry, John, love you, but don't love that matchup of mine. give me the.
That's okay. I clipped it. I just texted it to Kirby Smart. So, yeah.
I mean, he's going to make it up anyways. So, yeah. Sorry, Georgia folks. I love you. It is what it is. I did say you beat Texas this year in Athens. So just remember that. Clip that shit, John. Clemson and Ohio State. Give me Klubnik, man, the Austin, Texas native. I just believe in that wide receiver core. Hard to pick against Caleb Downs. Can't cover them all, though, Caleb. Buckeyes will be a really, really tough out. Again, love Julian saying, but I think Clemson is, again, I'm calling it a prove-it year for Dabo. They got to show that they belong amongst college football's elite, or still belong amongst college football's elite. Let's go to the other side, Texas and Notre Dame. Notre Dame would provide a very tough matchup for Texas, but I think our defense will be a little too much for Notre Dame's offense, and Texas, not comfortably, but we find a way to win that game. Again, I'm saying we, the Texas fan, y'all can expect a little bias. Again, I made the mistake of having Tech as a 4 seed. Forgive me, Bama and Tech. I just cannot pick Tech to beat Alabama in that spot. I'm sorry, Barrett Morton probably a little bit too loose with the football, not consistent enough. Just can't see him beating an SEC opponent of that caliber, to be honest. But, hey, I think the Tech's defense could get Bama some fits. Going to the other side, I've already done the other side. So now we have Clemson. We have Penn State. And I am going to go with Clemson in this spot. I think that Klubnik's a much better quarterback in a big moment than Drew Allar. Again, go to the other side. You got Texas. You've got Alabama. Texas beats Alabama, in my opinion, if we get to the college football semifinal. We're not losing in the college football semifinal again. It's just not happening. You're looking at Texas. You're looking at Clemson, a rematch of last year's battle in Austin. And it's going to be really, really hard for me to see Clemson beating Texas. I don't think they have the explosiveness at the skill positions to really beat Texas on the one play. We learned our lesson in dealing with the Clemson wide receivers. I think Texas is making the proper adjustments. Probably going to run a little less cover 3, give up a little less of some of the stuff that Clemson was able to hit us with last year, but just don't have the playmakers on the defensive side of the ball. That's the thing I should have led with. That's the big difference in the two teams. Good on that defensive line. Good in the front 7. A lot of experience. But, I'm sitting here telling you Texas is going to win it. I think we're better built to get better as the season goes than any other team. I think Texas is genuinely the deepest team in college football coming into 2025. I could say a lot of things, but at the end of the day, I do feel bad because I am a big Texas fan, and I'm sitting here making this prediction. I haven't done this yet on this channel, and I haven't done this on my Twitter account in the last 4 years. But I think it's Texas's time. Been close with Quinn Ewers, but again, I think the restrictor plate is off the program. Sark is finally all gas, no brakes. Texas gets it done. It'd be a bad time to be wrong because everybody's going to pile on really damn quick if Arch Manning and Texas, shit the bed a little bit and don't reach programs' goals or expectations. But
I don't know why they should pile on, though. It's not like Texas has done anything in 20 years. So what's the expectation? Like, they're not piling on. It's not, they set the expectation, so they're just piling on themselves.
I don't disagree with that, and I'm not going to sit here and get into it all because we've gone for an hour 48 minutes. We forgot to do our Heisman picks, and I really just could call you and argue with you for 2 hours after this, and that'd probably be the better move. Love you, John.
All
right, let's.
I'm kidding, obviously.
Oh, I know. I mean, it's fun. I even complain about media, and this is not. I don't think this is media, but this is a form of media, and we're doing the same thing that I complain about. So it's all hypocritical on my end, but. Texas has got a lot of hype. I understand it. I just genuinely feel for like the first time in a very long time we live up to the hype and that the hype is warranted. But again, you got to prove it on the football field, and there's a lot of turnover on our team too. Got to go prove it. Let's do some Heisman picks real quick. See if we can get these people out of here. For y'all that have stuck with us, truly appreciate it. We've been talking for an hour and 50 minutes. Means the world. Thanks for showing the channel support. Please, if you haven't, like and subscribe. Share the video with a friend. Logan said this about my team. I think it was great. Send it to about my buddy's team. I think it'd be great. Send it to him. I mean, Baylor. He's got Baylor in the freaking playoffs, guys. Go tell a Baylor Bear. Send this video to him. Logan believes in the Baylor Bears. We've all got a little bit of wildness. I literally could not believe when I typed out Florida State to send to Chris to make the graphic. I could not believe that I had typed it out. I had to do a double take, triple take, and then at that point I was like, you know what, college football gods, they've got my back. Savannah. Who is your Heisman Trophy winner? Who's got it? Who takes it down and why?
As the ACC homer that I am, people are like, you're an ACC homer. Correct. I am. It has to be Cade. It has to be Cade Klubnik. And here's why. There's a couple things. Basically, about 2 years ago, 2023, he didn't do so hot. 19 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, mostly a result because his starting 3 receiver core got hurt. Next year, those people are back, and he goes 36 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. Like I said, I'm going to get flamed because everyone's like, you said you weren't high on Clemson. I didn't say I was high. You're right. I'm not high on them. I still think they're great. I just need to see it. I have seen Cade Klubnik play live. I think he's good. I think he can scramble. This will be the best offensive line that he's had since he's gotten to Clemson as well. They are the second best offensive line in the ACC. And so I really think that he has a very good chance. I also love his wide receiver core. We kind of talked about it the other night when we talked about key players in the ACC. So if you wanted to hear more about that, you can listen to me and Ghost talk about that on that episode. But yeah, I think it's Cade Klubnik. I think there's some other people in the running, but I think it's him and Arch Manning's to lose, to be honest. So that's my pick.
I approve of that message. Logan, who's your husband?
I'm taking Garrett Nussmeier. Over 4,000 yards. Over 4,000 yards passing. I think the picks need to get shirred up a little bit. 29 tuds, 12 picks last year. He, out of the 12 games, only 5 times out of the 12, he actually threw for under 300 yards. All of them were losses except one that he threw for 405 yards against A&M and lost. I'm going to take him this year, I think, with the picks I'm taking, taking him to win the SEC. Up to him to sling the pill, take care of the rock. And, yeah, I like him to win the Heisman this year.
All of the LSU hype from our guy Logan believes LSU SEC title, Garrett Nussmeier bringing home the Heisman Trophy. I mean, he certainly has the weapons. There's going to be a time, like I'm a massive fan of Caden Durham at tailback. He can certainly catch the ball out of the backfield. I mean, he can throw the ball. He can cover every blade of grass, with that offense. They got speed for days. They're going to run all the concepts. It's going to be really fun. Paulie, again, I appreciate you being here, and it's fun watching you battle these guys in the comments. Respect for you, respect for you. All right, John, who you got? Who's our Heisman Trophy winner, brother?
Well, I don't know if you guys have heard, but Gunnar Stockton drives a 1984 F-150. And if that's not Heisman worthy, I don't know what. No, I'm kidding. He actually has a new truck. He still has the old one, but he does have a new one. I'm not picking Gunnar Stockton. That was for Joshy, who said here comes John with the Gunnar Stockton pick. I'm gonna go with Jeremiah Smith, and the reason I'm going with Jeremiah Smith is obviously, wide receivers rarely win the Heisman Trophy. I mean, Devontae Smith won it, but then Travis Hunter won it last year. But was he wide receiver? Was he corner? Was it just the kind of Dion situation? But I think Jeremiah Smith is going to win the Heisman, and mostly because I do think all the quarterback contenders, if Arch comes out and plays at the level that Texas expects him to play, then Arch Manning will win it because he's Arch Manning and he's a Manning. But I think otherwise, they all kind of blend together. I think they're going to take from each other. If you have Nussmeier playing at that level, if you have Klubnik playing at that level, if you have Arch Manning playing at that level, and I think that's going to open the door for somebody like Jeremiah Smith, who I think is just has the media hype. He has all of the spotlight, and I think that Ohio State offense is just really going to run through him, and I think they'll put up enough numbers to be there.
I mean, it's a great pick. I sure hope he has a little more productivity than he did against Texas in the Cotton Bowl last year. But at the end of the day, that joke doesn't hit as hard because they beat us by 2 touchdowns in the end. So, no, Jeremiah Smith is a fantastic talent, man. Yeah. He's a guy that, commands a double team or some type of special coverage at all times. And we've been really diving into the X's and O's about how Texas defended him in the Cotton Bowl. And, I mean, it's just a variety of stuff, through the kitchen sink at him, essentially. it just showed to me, it's like, wow, this is what our pretty dang good coaching staff thinks of this guy, and a guy who can single-handedly beat you in a moment. And so I don't hate the Jeremiah Smith pick whatsoever. He's going to have to carry probably that offense as they figure some things out. They'll lean heavily upon him, get the ball in his hands in a number of different ways. I like it, guys. We're at Nussmeier. We got a quarterback. We got a wide receiver. We've another quarterback there, but different conferences at least. We're spread all out. For myself, I think this is a guy last year who potentially had a chance to end up in New York if he wouldn't have gotten hurt there in the second quarter. And
you're not picking Arch Manning?
I'm not picking Arch Manning.
He's not.
I thought we were getting a 2 for 2. I thought we were getting a 2 for 2. I thought we were going to have Texas Natty, Arch Heisman.
No Arch. No, I mean, I very much think that Arch Manning could be in the running. I expect Brian Wingo, DeAndre Moore, Jack Hendricks to be very, very good weapons for this man, and honestly to have a big season. Now, here's the difference for me with Arch Manning and Lenore Sellers. Arch Manning is, if our defense is the way that I think our defense is, if our offense looks the way that I expect our offense to, if all the burning orange Kool-Aid, it comes to fruition, Texas is going to whip a couple teams. Lenore Sellers has less of a defense in his back pocket as South Carolina. Lenore Sellers is going to be more dependent upon in that offense on an every down basis than Arch Manning is. And I don't know, Paulie, we're talking about Heisman right now. I didn't even pick Arch. Leave me alone for a minute, and we'll talk about Arch in a second. I'm a coward.
Hell.
Oh, God.
Paulie is giving you hell in the chat.
Yeah, get him, Chris. Get him. Back him up. That boy. I got a good gift for you after this, Chris, but it is somewhat of a family channel, and I can't say it here. But, yeah, absolutely. So I got Lenore. They need Lenore. Shane Beamer needs Lenore. So if they're going to make the college football playoff, which I have South Carolina doing, it's going to be on the back of Lenore Sellers. Like, he's going to have to be a massive part of that offense. I think that they've done enough in helping him with Nick Harbor. I think, as far as him progressing and developing and getting ready to take that next step, and Miles Bennett, I like him as a guy that should step up in that offense, but a guy that we need to see it happen first. Give me Lenore, man. I think that with the rushing touchdowns that he probably can rack up in the SEC as often as they're going to be giving him the ball inside of the 5-yard line and just in general, if Lenore stays healthy, which I will be rooting for more than ever because I want to win this because y'all laughed at me for not picking my own quarterback. So I would love it if Arch is right, but I need Lenore now because people are going to get on me. Okay. Sorry, Paulie. Didn't mean to. Yeah, Joshy, argue Paulie in the comments while we the grown-ups talk. Okay, come on, man. Just kidding. I love both of you. Thanks again. But no, absolutely. Give me Lenoris. We got Lenoris. We got Garrett Nussmeier. We've got Cade Klubnik. We've got Jeremiah Smith. Who do y'all like? Whose pick do y'all like the most? Who do y'all think has the best odds? And how much money are you putting down on our picks? Are you running immediately right now and dropping money on Jeremiah Smith? Personally, I would do Lenore Sellers first, but that's up to you. I think, guys, that we've touched on it all. We've got it in under 2 hours, which last year I think it took. We were here for 2.5 hours doing the prediction show, so we've cut down on some time. But is there anything that anyone in the chat would like us to cover or bring up very quickly, if so, or anything that you guys here with me tonight would like to cover?
Joshy, now's your chance. Get it out, buddy.
Oh, they're going into it. It's been a very live chat, and we appreciate it, guys. Like it means a lot that y'all are here spending time with us. We can all get along at the end of the day, but yeah, banter is great.
I have one question for y'all because I'm just curious. Who is your team that no one's really talking about right now that everybody's going to be talking about by the end of September, by the end of the first month of college football?
Oh,
it doesn't mean they're going to end up like being like, a playoff team or whatever, but like they're going to make some noise early on.
Don't get me started. I'm gonna sound crazy though.
We already saw your bracket, so I mean, come on, let's like.
I'm gonna go really quickly to keep it under the radar because I'm so superstitious. But don't count out the Wolfpack. Don't count them out.
Ooh.
That's all I'm gonna say.
I like it.
Their offense is gonna be hot. They have I could rank the top 5 like tackles. They have one of the top 3. And don't count out CJ Bailey. He's not a freshman anymore. He'll make some stupid mistakes. He's a young quarterback. He's a true sophomore, but he'll be great. He'll be good. He's got some targets downfield. Justin Jolie is a fantastic tight end. Yeah, there's some question marks on the defense, but most people aren't really worried about a Dave Dorn defense. And I know that Tony Gibson left for Marshall, and we are quite like the Big 12 in the fact that we have 2 new coordinators, but we've been flying really under the radar. And so I could see it going kind of well for us. And I say we because, yes, I'm an NC State fan. My dad coaches there. That is my team. And that I'll keep it quick. Someone else hurry, go. So no one asks me anything else.
I like that. When you said their offense is gonna be hot, I thought we might be going another direction, but I like it.
Okay, good.
Are there any more Texas fans in the chat? Because I'm going to keep my answer short and sweet, but you're going to hate it. It's going to be Texas A&M because they're going to go into South Bend, Indiana, and they're going to beat Notre Dame. And then they're probably going to take care of Auburn on the 27th of September after Oklahoma loses to Auburn, after Oklahoma beats Auburn too, and that kind of gets the domino going on Hugh Freeze and then that whole exit that seems to be inevitable to me. So I think Texas A&M early season, the offense with all the additions that they've had, the health of Le'Veon Moss, we'll see what it looks like, but so much experience on the offensive line. I think Brian Cushing's a really good offensive line coach, and I think Notre Dame will be good. Obviously, I have them in the college football playoff, and not Texas A&M, because I don't think Notre Dame plays anybody compared to the games that A&M has. But early in the year, I chalked that up as one of the only losses I have for Notre Dame. It might be the only loss. I'll have to go look at the schedule again.
I like that.
Good pick.
I'd have to I'm going to rep Oregon State. We play Texas Tech at Tech week 3, and then we play Oregon the very next week at Autzen. I wouldn't be surprised if we give somebody a little run for their money. With Malik Murphy now at quarterback, we got Anthony Hangerson over 1,000-yard rusher behind him. 4 of the 5 starting O-linemen returning. This is a team that's got a lot to prove this year. That's not actually my pick, but just want to put it out there. Tech and Oregon back-to-back weeks, week 3 and 4 is super early. So be on the lookout for that. Now, who I'm really going to go with is Nebraska. Nebraska is a team that the little mini Pat Mahomes, whatever you want to call him. I think it's an interesting story. They have a pretty easy schedule until they go week 4, and then they got to play Michigan. They get to host Michigan in the Big Red, so they don't go to the Big Blue. But they're going to play at home against Michigan. So I think it's September 20th. To me, that's a big one for them. If they can win that game, who knows? The rest of their schedule is it's pretty easy. It's not that tough. So to me, I like Nebraska as an underdog.
I dig that. I'm a big fan of that pick. That would have been the first 3 answers I probably had. It's just I thought at A&M first, to be honest. What do you guys think?
College football is better when Nebraska is good. That is a hill
bingo
on. Yes.
Absolutely.
And if you are a true CFB sicko, you need to get to Nebraska for a game. It is a great bingo experience, and their fans are awesome. John, what's your pick?
Yeah, my pick. My pick was actually going to be Texas A&M, but I'm gonna take a little left turn, Sav, and go in your direction and say Utah. I think Kyle Whittingham, and they just find ways to make stuff happen. I don't think that they're going to end up necessarily being in the conversation near the end. But I do think in that first month, then they play Texas Tech. I think that Texas game on September the 20th, I think that's going to put Utah on a lot of radars. But if I had to rank them, I would say it probably is Texas A&M first, and then I like the NC State pick. That's a low key good pick. And love the Nebraska pick. I think Matt Rule at some point he's going to put it together. So why not this year?
They don't play a ranked opponent until Penn State's second to last game of the year, and then they play
that's just playing in the Big Ten.
Yeah. And then they play Iowa at Iowa last game of the year. Otherwise, it's Minnesota, USC, Northwestern. I mean,
Mhm.
Maryland. They have a good chance to really put a damper on that conference. I think sneaky.
I truly believe there are no better college football fans than the folks in Lincoln, Nebraska. I've only been once, but it was incredible. Also, Texas went into Nebraska in 1998 Halloween night, ended a 47-game home winning streak on the back of Ricky Williams. And when Texas leaves the field, Nebraska gives them a standing ovation. And it's like, oh, that's different because that shit wouldn't have happened here. You know what I mean? Like, we probably wouldn't have. Maybe a few fans, you know what I mean, out of respect to our team, but like clapping for the other team and just like appreciating their effort and stuff. That I was a little kid and I immediately knew I was like Nebraska fans are special, and so really excited to able to get up there. But like Savannah said, if you haven't, you need to get there stat. So.
Yeah, I guess 47-game winning streak. That's a pretty good thing to applaud. When Alabama ended Georgia's 29-game winning streak, we did not stand there and give them an ovation. I can tell you that.
I can definitely understand why you wouldn't. Let me just say this: if we go into Athens, America, on November 14th or 15th or whenever the hell that is, and we end the Dogs' 30-plus game win streak, I don't expect to be clapped for and hugged and high-fived because
you'll get clapped.
I got my ass kicked. Got my ass kicked last October, and there were fights outside of the stadium, and people were barking in faces. Like it wasn't that. So SEC.
Yeah,
football,
that's just the SEC though. That's not.
I'm not complaining. Not complaining.
I'll tell you the craziest. Just wait. At some point, you guys are going to go. Texas is going to go to Tennessee, and oh my God, just wear a helmet. Wear a helmet to the game.
Wait, John, are you going to be at the Georgia at Tennessee game?
Yes, I will.
Let's go. Same. I'll see you there.
All right. We will see you there.
See y'all there. Let's go. I don't know if you're saying that because they're going to throw things or if we're trying to match like all the other Tennessee fans in the crowds with helmets on or.
No, yeah, you think like the Georgia like barking, getting up in somebody's face, little tussle fight, whatever is crazy. Tennessee fans, there's levels, right, and tiers of like craziness in the SEC and fan bases, and Tennessee they're just in a league of their own, from literally every aspect of it. So,
I mean, throwing bottles and stuff on the field is just insane.
They might throw you.
I can't believe
on the field. They might throw you on the field, Ghost. They might throw you in the Tennessee River. They might carry you out of the stadium and just throw you right in the river. I mean, it's crazy. Like you never.
Pretty decent swimmer, but I don't know what that Tennessee River leads. I don't know what the river leads to, so I prefer that we don't do that. And
it leads away from that. It leads away from that stadium, and that's all that matters.
Can someone tell Saucy Raccoon that, yes, I won't have a plain black wall here soon. I just moved. I got you, my guy. I have a whole background. Sorry, that was like a random change of topic.
I'm sorry to bring this up, Savannah, and put this like image on the screen for you, but I mean, like, this is like, to me, this is like classic college football. It's peak nostalgia. Like, I know, I get it, you know what I mean? But like, we go in the Cotton Bowl every year for Texas OU, and like, I mean, it is what it is, and it's become part of the experience. Would I prefer, a normal, updated, modern bathroom setting? Probably, but yeah, just defending the rivalry. Okay.
Yeah, well, we can end on this. Nothing like walking into a trough bathroom in a stadium. It's just the waft that you get when you step right in there. It's just wonderful. Welcome to Neyland Stadium. It smells like a freaking horse trailer.
I'm happy to be a girl suddenly.
Yeah, I'm sure you are. Whole different bathroom scene.
It's just a whole situation.
Yeah, one day, you my friends, Savannah, I know this year you're making that trip. Y'all understand the old Cotton Bowl experience when Texas and OU get inside there, the state fair, and I mean, I know you have your own Florida, Georgia. Everybody here.
No. I was going to say that the Cotton Bowl is very high on my list. It is very high. I mean, it's probably at this point, it's probably at the top because I've been to the Iron Bowl.
wait
care
for
anything
Oklahoma to regain their footing. If
Yeah.
Brent Venables does, maybe he reaches the ceiling, and I'm a believer that Venables, the longer he's at Oklahoma, that he will get the type of players he needs amongst that defensive line, as long as he can just, as he did 1 year with Jeff Lebby, have the right offensive coordinator, that he could work out. But Seth Luttrell, that might have been, a fatal hitch in the plan. We will see. But yeah, wait for Texas OU, Savannah. We'll see. I hope it's a great one for you. For me personally, I hope we beat them by 49 again. But I'm already nervous. We got to stop. We got to move on. All right. Anything else, guys? Let's get y'all out of here. Thank y'all for doing this. Everyone in the chat, I appreciate it, guys. If you haven't liked the video, go do it. Even you, Paulie. I hope you've enjoyed the banter. I hope you found a new friend or two in that comment section, brother. Y'all been going at it, but genuinely, man, really appreciate the support, guys. Fun to continue adding new team members. Ingrid, good to see you in here again. Long time no see. Bart, appreciate you being here, having some fun. From the maroon side. So Joshy, thanks for all the support as always, brother. But all right, guys, I'll let y'all get out of here. Everyone have a great night. Savannah will have more content dropping on the channel this week. Logan as well. We all will. Maybe even John. We'll try to get him.
Maybe
on.
so.
We'll see.